Now we are live. What's going on, everybody? Narcolepsy Boy 94 the Randy Orton pose. I like that. Narcolepsy Boy.
Pyro?
It's fake pyro on the back. You gotta just pretend it's back
hey,
there.
Sean, let's get the pyro going.
It's fake pyro on the back.
We just talked about that.
Narcolepsy Boy 94 here, aka Malik, back here again, doing another spin the wheel edition of wrestling topics. We will spin the wheel, and whatever topic it lands on, that's what we will discuss. Nobody knows any topic that it'll land on. It's going to shoot on the fly, give our opinions and thoughts, real opinions and thoughts. And you guys can leave your opinions and thoughts also in the comment section below. As always, I'll let my guests introduce themselves. If you guys have anything you guys want to plug in, social media, podcasting, whatever you guys got going on right now in life. We'll start with Mountie, then we'll go to Sean, and then we'll go to Kyron.
What's up, everybody? It's been a while. Mountie's Corner here in the flesh, baby. That was like a Thunder Lips. If anybody's seen Rocky 3, Hulk Hogan was in it. Thunder Lips. Thunder Lips. Yeah. But you guys say it the right way. It's spin the wheel and make the deal. Halloween Havoc style. So we're not going to cover all the topics. Maybe we will. Who knows? But knowing us, a bunch of ramblers, a bunch of people that are probably going to argue and drift off into the oblivion and start talking about the Patriots and the Ravens and God knows what else, hopefully. But stick with us because this is going to be a good one. I promise you. So follow me on TikTok, YouTube. I'm back in the game. It's been a crazy year. I got a puppy, golden retriever. Anybody has a golden retriever, comment below. How the hell do I train them? They're nuts. Anyways, good to see you all. My brother's 6-pack, kind of like a 4-pack. It's kind of like what I have. It's kind of starting now. I'm leaning out a little bit. We're getting healthier. It's great to see everybody. Rip them. Come on.
Let's go. You already know it.
Let me give a shout out to Weezy Blonde in the chat. Girl from TikTok.
Hello. That's our friend.
It's your man Sean of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. Really happy to be here. Hubbard Wrestling Weekly and Clash of the Podcast.
I was gonna say, aren't you that guy from Clash of the podcast or Clash? What is it? Yeah, aren't you the guy?
Shout out, appreciate that. Shout out to my brother Conrad Cushman of EPW. He and I co-host Clash of the Podcast, and I am the proprietor of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly Combat Sports Media. Check me out coming up. I got some top 10 pound for pound boxing information coming up. Clash of the Podcast every Monday night, 6:05 Eastern Time. It's lit. And always remember, God first and evil never to be here, man.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So Conrad has enough time for you, but he doesn't have time for us tonight. Just want to make sure that we're,
that's what I'm saying. What's up with that, man?
Right? Like all of a sudden, Sean is like creeping, man. Now he's up there.
He's up there.
Conrad's there. He's like, I'm making T-shirts, man. I'm Conrad. Yeah, he's doing all kinds. Anyway, sorry.
I have on good authority that Conrad had some family obligations. Big shout out.
My bad.
Anyway, it's your boy Kyron Chase. I'm happy to be back. Even though he has family obligations, I'm pretty sure Conrad is watching this or will be watching this. But I'm glad to be back here and I'm ready to get started. Now, excuse me, guys, I gotta relocate really quickly.
You're good. I'll give some shout outs in here. Appreciate you guys for coming through. TikTok vids. I got you with the duet on the Undertaker video, so I saved it. So appreciate everybody in here real quick. Once again, shout out to Weezy Blonde. I think I followed your Twitch too, so I don't know when you're gonna start posting on Twitch, but whenever you start posting, I would definitely be checking it out.
I never got into Twitch.
I'm starting to get into it more. I'm starting to try to.
That's like video game, right? Like no.
No, it's more you podcasting.
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Friday, I got you. Friday, I got you. Friday.
Perfect.
All right, should we get into the first topic? Should we wait for him to come back, or do you want to go ahead and spin the wheel?
I don't know. I feel like we're cheating on him if he doesn't see the
wheel.
You guys can go ahead.
Oh, he's there. Sorry. Go.
He said, "Go ahead." All right, we're gonna spin the wheel. Then we're gonna spin the wheel and see what the first topic is gonna be.
Relocating.
Look at this wheel. Isn't that a beautiful wheel?
Look at that, man.
Beautiful wheel.
Yeah. How many different topics we got there, Malik? 24.
There's 25. We'll get to try to get to 10. We'll see what happens.
Ooh.
Best WWE pay-per-view match of the year. Who's next? I'll start with you, Mountie, for you. Best WWE pay-per-view match of the year for you.
I'd say the one that I guess I.
Yeah, I got mine. If you don't have yours yet, I'll say yeah.
No, I got mine. Okay. The one that really stands out to me the most And look, it's hard to do this because like there's so many matches and there's so many pay-per-views and there's so many different feuds and blah blah blah. But this one really stood out, and I think just because the magnitude of what happened, how it started, the story behind it, and also the aftermath of where this is going to go, I'd have to go like Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, the Hell in the Cell.
Valid.
For me, like it kicked off the pay-per-view really good. Obviously, the story with his tearing the pec muscle, the whole deal, and getting through the match. Look, man, I'm blessed that I train a lot and I've never torn my pec, but I can only imagine how painful that's got to be. Like, dude, I've seen videos where guys tear their pec like mid-workout and stuff. Like this shit is no joke, you know? And the fact that he was able to go out there and do the whole match in that pain, to me, just represents to the whole world of how tough these wrestlers really are. And Cody Rhodes literally put that on his back and went out there and put a hell of a performance on. So I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell.
Sean, what about you, brother?
I'm gonna go a little outside the box. Typically, a question like this, by the way, great subject matter in the league. Typically, a question like this would be a pay-per-view answer, but I'm gonna go free television. I'm gonna go SmackDown Live. I'm gonna go RK Bro versus the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. I felt like that was a really cool concept. Number one, I think it was extremely well wrestled, and I felt like both teams really put on a major 5-star performance, including the aftermath that ended up leading to our Randy Orton's absence from television. So I think that, this is coming from somebody who's not a tremendous Riddle fan, but I think that RK Bro versus the Usos, with honorable mention to the Usos versus New Day as well. But I'm gonna give the nod to RK Bro versus the Usos.
It's a valid answer
Sure.
too.
Is that Riddle thing real today that I saw?
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
It's real, huh?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
If you mean the suspension thing, then yeah, the suspension.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, like, what did he get? What did he get clipped for?
Weed or something like that.
Smoking.
I thought they don't do drug testing on weed anymore. I don't know why I thought that.
Oh, if that's the case, then I don't know. Maybe you're right.
That's not good then.
But he definitely got banged. He definitely got banged.
Maybe he's getting sent to rehab. No.
Yeah.
Like, this is a pretty big deal if that's the case. But anyways, that's too bad, you know.
Kyron, what about you? What would your answer be?
See, this has been one of the few questions I actually did think about that you sent me, because I have a few like matches that have been on my mind. I have a few honorable mentions, like matches. So I'm gonna, before I give you my answer, there's a couple I was thinking about. One, just because of everything that built up to it, how emotionally invested I was in it. Becky Lynch can be on the Belair at WrestleMania. Two, mainly because I was there in person, so I actually have, like, and Malik, you already know where I'm going with this, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And three and four from the same night. One, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle. The story that match told, and the electricity of the crowd, to the point where, as much as I like Roman, I was legit heartbroken Drew did not win that night. And my last mention I'm going to bring up is Sami versus Gunther at Clash at the Castle, one of the most physical matches I've ever seen. And one thing I love is it was physical without having to involve any weapons. So those are my four favorite WWE matches of the year. And after thinking about it, it just comes down to how much I was emotionally invested in it. And like I said, it had been building since SummerSlam. So my favorite pay-per-view match WWE did all year was Bianca and Becky at WrestleMania. After what happened last year at SummerSlam, that pissed everybody off. The fact that it was built perfectly with Becky and Bianca. Both women had great interest at WrestleMania. And the physicality, the story that was told, the right woman won, and it led, and even at the aftermath for it, of the match at SummerSlam was also good, and Becky and Bianca joining forces. My personal favorite WWE match of the year was Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
I was there for that one. That was valid. That was a great match.
Can I ask you? Sorry. I just wanted to ask Kyron about his number 4, because I really enjoyed that one too, and that almost took it for me. So really good points there, my man. I love it. One thing that you didn't mention, which you has to do with the atmosphere for sure that you were talking about. Like, how cool was that Broken Dreams intro though? Like,
Yeah.
dude, how do we not? We need to talk about that. That was one of the coolest things that I've seen all
I'm sure,
year.
I was more upset they didn't like permanently bring it back as his theme.
Yeah, bring it out, or at least for that whole entrance. Like,
Yeah,
I
I think what made it great was the montage that played over.
Yeah, man.
Like, if you want to have Drew come out to Broken Dreams, you played a montage of his entire career, and that leads to this point. And I'll be honest, when I saw that montage, I said, "Oh, Drew's winning this match. Drew's winning." And I can't lie, maybe because of how much I love that team. Mind you, I'm watching this on my phone at work in the cooler. I'm in a cooler watching this match. So as soon as I hear Broken Dreams,
that's commitment.
So as soon as I hear Broken Dreams play, I just had the biggest smile on my face. And like I said, and I meant Malik knows because me and Malik talked about it after the match ended. I said, what was the point of playing Broken Dreams, showing that montage of Drew's career, having this beat in the UK if Drew was not going to win? Now, granted, looking at what they've done with the Bloodline since, especially the Survivor Series, might be the better option that Drew didn't win. But in the moment, everybody was upset that Drew didn't win that match. And like I said, it was close, but the atmosphere of the classic Castle and Jerry, the atmosphere in the crowd that night in general. I've been one person who's been pushing and advocating for more pay-per-views in the UK. And if that was any indication, we need more of it. Because
100%.
UK crowds bring it.
Oh yeah.
My match of the year actually comes from pay-per-view match actually comes from that show. Mine was Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash at the Castle. That's one of the best matches of the year in general for me. Not even just
that was a good one. You're right.
It really was.
That match was absolutely insane. The physicality about it and just everything, the emotion too. Like Sheamus got a standing ovation afterwards, and he literally went from heel to babyface like right after that match. Like it just turned right in there. So it was a great match. Roman versus Drew definitely up there as well. That definitely would be up there for me. And Cody versus Seth is definitely a great mention too in Hell in a Cell. I mean, the fact that you've seen a lot of wrestlers, wrestle and get injured in the match and finish, but like he went in with the injury and like knowing that he was hurt, and then like you saw the injury and everything. It's still mind blowing to me that he still actually wrestled the way he did in Hell in a Cell. I thought it's great. Like that was one of the most gutsiest performances I've ever seen from any wrestler. You know what I mean? Like Cody Rhodes earned a different level of respect on that day for a amount of reasons. So I would still say Gunther versus Sheamus though for me. That was my prediction for match of the night that night, but that definitely blew expectation out the water for me. Like that match was so good in so many ways. Like straight wrestling too, like this hard hitting, physicality of wrestling. It was very well put together, well done. Sheamus' chest all blistered up and everything afterwards. It was just a very physical, hard hitting match. So I would definitely
it was a dogfight.
I put that one up there for me.
There's not a lot of pay-per-views that I would consider going back and watching from a WWE standpoint, like in the past year. And I don't mean that as a shot or anything. It's just I've liked some matches and I'll go back and watch some matches and so on and so forth. But whole pay-per-views, front to back, I would probably watch the Clash at the Castle for sure.
Same.
Let's get into the next topic. See what we land on here. Here's going to be, what is this? How long will MJF be the champion?
Oh boy.
This is over to little AEW right here. How long, Mountie, do you think MJF will hold the championship?
Yeah, I didn't put a lot of thought into this particular question. Not for any reason, but more so I just didn't get to it. On the spot, for real. On the fly, I think he's got to hold it for a year and change. I think he's got to hold it until minimum 2024. And I know that's a long time, especially from an AEW standpoint. For me personally, I've been waiting for MJF to be champion since the beginning of AEW. To me, he exemplifies everything that is right with what they do in a sense where it's raw, it's uncut. This guy, in my opinion, first of all, he's probably the only well, you can say the only wrestler in general, but especially the only heel that stays kayfabe, like wherever he goes, whatever he does. And that's a lost art. I mean, Taker used to do it, and a couple others for sure that probably don't get mentioned enough, But I mean, he just does it. Like he kills it wherever he goes. I've been waiting for this moment, and I understand why he didn't win it, but when I started to look at it, I'm like, fuck, like AEW has been in business how long? And yeah, he hasn't had one reign yet. I'm like, that seems weird. Now I understand why those other guys held it. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like this guy can carry the company. I really do. Like for me, I can't really say that there's been a lot in the last 3, 4, 5 years that has like drawn me into like I have to tune in every single week to see what this guy is going to do. I find myself doing that with him. I enjoyed his what do you want to call it, serenation, sort of with oh no, sorry.
You're going in and out a little bit.
All right, so
You're good.
for me, I really enjoyed that ceremony where he won the title, revealed a new one, and then I was like, he's gonna turn on Regal. He got what he wanted from him, and he's gonna turn on him. And a lot of people didn't really understand that. They're like, well, it's a heel, and he's turning on another heel. I'm like, no, there's more to it than that. So I loved it. I can't wait to see what's gonna come of it. I think that he's got to be careful with this whole contract 2024 nonsense. Like I get why he's saying it, but like don't tell us about it every week. I don't want to hear it. They just be on it. Like not be honest. Just whatever's carried you this far, that you have such a decent sized fan base and what's made you successful, just keep doing that. Just keep doing, don't deviate. Don't do anything too outside the box. Just do that. You'll be okay. So I'm saying till 2024, early 2024 at some point.
Sean, what about you? What do you think? You're on mute. You gotta unmute yourself.
My apologies. I have to agree with Mountie, and I'm going to agree with Mountie for the reason that he doesn't want to hear, and I agree. I don't want to hear it either. But I think simply because of the contract negotiation of 2024 is the reason why the powers that be, Tony Khan, whoever, are going to be hesitant to take it off of him. I do think that MJF is a worthy champion. Do I think he's a worthy champion that deserves to be a champion for a year? I don't. I think him having a title reign is legitimately acceptable. I don't think him having a year-long championship reign is acceptable. But I think that AEW brass and decision makers will be hesitant to take it off of him because they want that to be a bargaining chip for when and if he might leave the company. So that's my reasoning behind it. So I'm going to say 2024 because of the contract.
Yeah.
Kyron, what about you?
Yeah, I saw a great video that booked how someone would do MJF's title reign. I'm not going to reference that video per se. I'm okay with them bringing up his contract as long as they don't do it every single week. Like,
exactly.
You can, like, let's say you can run a storyline, especially, let's say MJF threatens to leave the company with the title if Tony doesn't give him his money, for instance. Let's just say that's his threats. And eventually, let's say we're getting toward the end of next year, and Tony's starting to get a little desperate, and AEW general trying to get the title off MJF. And I feel like his title, so that could be a storyline can do well. And MJ can decide to stay or leave, but whatever. My personal opinion, I don't think he's gonna leave. I think Tony is gonna resign him. How long do I think he should hold the title? At least until next December. Around winter is coming, because that's around the time where I think his contract might expire, so you can run a storyline all the way up to that. But I think at least a year, at least until winter is coming, 2023.
I think we all got the same answer. I think he needs to hold it all next year in 2023. I think he should be the champion all next year, mainly because of contract things. Definitely have to do stuff with it too. But I think it's more so is just, I think if they really want to stretch it out, he's so popular right now. I don't think people would mind him being champion all next year. Like he's literally the most over guy in AEW right now too. Until you find literally the right person to beat him for the championship, the one that makes the most sense and the one that will get the best crowd reaction. Where
Wardlow.
It could be him or somebody else, but like whoever beats him is gonna have to get a positive reaction out of it. You know what I mean? Like the people are gonna have to get excited that MJF lost to whoever. You know what I mean? So I think he needs to hold it all next year. I mean, he's not he doesn't give off dominant championship vibes, but I mean he could cheat in pretty much like most of his matches to retain. Like he piss everybody off. You know what I mean? Like he's that type of heel where he could cheat in most of his matches, and he's such a good talker that he could poke the needle. You know what I mean? Like he could poke the bear and make people hate him even more by it. So.
See, I think that is the type of character he should be. I think the problem is this: a lot of fans, especially in today's time, get mad about. Especially now, a babyface is one thing, but a heel who is portrayed as a weak champion, I don't think that's necessarily a problem if you're a heel, because let's say your book is you can lose the title, but you use underhanded methods to keep it. And yeah, you're a weak champion, but if the story still revolves around you and you're still doing things, I don't think it's a problem. Prime example. Ric Flair made an art out of that type of being a champ. Let's be honest. Flair used unhanded tactics. You can be seen as a quote unquote weak champion, but it worked. Like now, if you're a babyface, that's a completely different situation. But I have no problem with a heel being booked as a weak champion as long as they're competent and the storyline revolving around him. Prime example: when Chris Jericho won the undisputed title, he was booked as a weak champion, but all his wins came off as he didn't deserve it. He was never the full focus, and his reign didn't come off as legit. So there's ways to do a weak heel champion correctly, look at Ric Flair, and incorrectly, look at Chris Jericho's first undisputed title reign. I feel like if MJF is booked more like Prime Ric Flair was, even if he's a heel or a weak champion, I think it can still work.
Valid. Let's get to the next topic right here, man. We got some valid opinions so far on this one. Let's see what the next one we got here.
Of course we do.
Let's see what's this one right here? Oh, male superstar of the year in 2022. Who's the MVP for you guys? Male superstar of the year. It could be any promotion, whoever you think it is. I'm just gonna say it off the bat for me. I think there could be some good answers, but it's Roman Reigns for me. I mean, it has to be Roman Reigns for me.
Of course. Like, it's not even a question.
Yes. I mean, I think you can make an argument.
Oh Lord.
For Sami Zayn. I really do.
Superstar of the year?
Sami Zayn.
Yes.
I will give credit to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn probably is up there with Roman. He's up there with Roman.
He's got to be in the conversation. You got to at least say that. Like, and I think it's relative, right? Like, Roman Reigns in 2021 was great as well, Yeah. So, like the comparison between the years, other than the title reign and obviously like him leading that whole storyline, it's paramount. Don't get me wrong, but if you compare like Sami Zayn from the year prior to where he is now and how over he is now, and the direction that they could probably potentially go with him, I mean, I think that, they don't really do like most improved wrestler. I mean, do they? Do they do a most improved wrestler?
I want to interject something real quick.
Please.
Give you some credit because I think I'm just literally had a light bulb go off on my head when you said what you said. Obviously, Roman Reigns would be the most logical choice for Superstar of the Year. But when you say Sami Zayn, I literally it just popped into my head. I'm not going to take any credit for it. Sami Zayn wins Superstar of the Year. Roman Reigns is jealous. Unbelievable.
See what I'm saying?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's something that can easily be a point of emphasis for them to split. I don't know if that's where you were going, but
actually no. I'm going to give you the credit on that, but
that just popped into my head.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, like you got to bring it into the limelight, like bring it into that storyline, like you said, and that could just be like another, a bubble to the bubbling crock pot that's about to like burst open. Yeah. That's genius right there. I love that. Can you imagine?
I got to hear from you, so good job out of you.
Oh, bro, like one of my favorite like memes or gifs of Sami Zayn was when he was like dancing in the ring and he had the top hat on and whatever. Like, can you imagine the celebration this guy would do if he won like male superstar of the year? Like, dude, like I'm
He's so good right
sorry,
now.
man. Like, this is
He's,
good TV. This is good TV, right?
I think
Cherry notes.
I think Sammy definitely does deserve credit for the year he's had. And obviously, we're all talking about the bloodline stuff. But I think another thing that no one, like, neither one of you guys brought up was the stuff with Johnny Knoxville leading up to WrestleMania. In no way should that have worked. That had no business working. And yet it was one of the most entertaining parts of WrestleMania.
It was.
I'll be honest. I legit didn't think it was going to work. I didn't. And you got to give credit.
And hilarious.
And I think when Sammy first got into the bloodline, I admit I was not against it. I'm like,
I wasn't. I was not about it either.
I was more like, it was more the lines of, I don't want this to be all goofy and everything. And don't get me wrong, Sammy's brought comedy because of course he has. He's made all four of them break. But when you look at the following, the storyline we've gotten, you had the whole thing with the t-shirt stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, that was great. The whole t-shirt situation. You have, of course, him and the stuff with him and Jay, when Jay said, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief says, and Roman's face was literally perfect. But everything that happened on a SmackDown before and at Survivor Series was literally picture perfect to the point where my job at work, so I haven't been able to see everything, but I'm seeing the segments as it's happening at Survivor Series. I did get home in time for the main event.
You watch it in the fridge again.
No, I watched some of it. But all right, so I'm sitting there watching the main event, and I'm wondering, okay, this is gonna go one of two ways. Either Blood's gonna turn on Sammy, or Sammy's gonna turn on them. That's what I'm thinking. And when he stopped the referee from counting Roman down, and basically sacrificed Kevin Owens, and I can't lie, the moment when Jey Uso hugged Sami Zayn at Survivor Series, I had the biggest smile. I literally started clapping. I said, okay, this is one of the best storylines probably in wrestling. And the sad thing is, when they eventually turn on Sammy and beat the hell out of him, he's going to be the most sympathetic babyface in WWE. And while I'm not one of those people who says Sammy should win the title from Roman at WrestleMania, WWE could accidentally book that into existence. Now, I'm not saying that should happen, but here's one thing they could do instead. If you don't want Sammy to take time from Roman, which is fair, Elimination Chamber is in Montreal.
That's right. Guess who's going? Not only that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. All right, I'll talk about it.
About that, man. Sammy and Kevin Owens are both from Montreal. You could do something. Let's say, for example, Sammy does face Roman. Like, let's say the bloodline does turn on Sammy before Elimination Chamber, or Roman faces Kevin at Elimination Chamber. And the Montreal crowd will be so invested. And you can literally have Sammy and Kevin, like, let's say the bloodline does turn on Sammy that night. Let's say you turn on Sammy at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. Kevin Owens makes the save. The reaction that we get in Montreal, then at WrestleMania, Kevin and Sammy versus the Usos for the tag team titles.
That'd be loaded. There's already been talks about that, rumors about that, speculations about the internet too. So I mean, I could see it happening. It all fits perfectly and it goes together. As far as from a storyline purposes, I think Sami Zayn has definitely brought up the bloodline and even revived them for some people as far as making them entertainment wise. I mean, he's made literally every single one of them great character on TV. So Sami Zayn is back in the position again where he can get over again like he was in NXT as far as being the top babyface again. Like once they turn on him and they kick him out, if he cuts his hair and changes his beard again, like he can go back to the old attire. Like that's like Sami Zayn 2014 vibes again. Like that's what I would love to see happen. So I wouldn't. I think Sami Zayn definitely is in the candidate. He definitely been killing it. Even like
sorry, Malik. Go ahead. I think another guy who I think once again deserves a mention is Seth Rollins. Let's be honest. Rollins has literally had multiple feuds this year and made them all work. He and Roman faced off the Royal Rumble. It's heel versus heel, and Seth made it work without either one of them changing their characters. Even though we all speculated who he was facing at WrestleMania, we all knew that was going to be Cody. And the storyline, no one knew that, and yet made that work. Made the feud with Cody work. And then he moves on He does the stuff with Riddle. That was a very good feud. Now he's doing stuff with Theory and Lashley for the U.S. title. I think that's working. I think Seth Rollins has made so much stuff work this year. And he's only been in the main quote unquote main event storyline once, and that was at Royal Rumble. And I still think I find it ironic how Roman lost to Seth via DQ at Royal Rumble. And by the way, Seth's entrance that night was amazing. And yet there was no follow-up on that. That's the thing that kind of annoyed me. Like, I like where it went. Like, Seth got in Roman's head so much to the point where Roman broke. He snapped. And yet we get no storyline payoff from that. I think that was a big miss. Now, I get it. Roman had Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Rollins had Cody. But we're almost a year later from the Royal Rumble, and we have not gotten any follow-up. It's like they forgot about it. I mean, the segment they had the night before on SmackDown, when Rollins just constantly trolling Roman to finally Roman snaps, that was great. Then the match at the Royal Rumble, I'm watching. The Roman comes out, and as soon as I hear Sierra Hotel, I start dying laughing. I said that was beautiful, and yet Roman Seth had a great match at the Rumble. It ends via DQ. No follow up. That's literally a storyline right there for the taking. That would be great. Seth and Roman is not necessarily for WrestleMania, but at any point, because we've never fully gotten actual payoff. Even, and I'm talking about in general, since it still broke up. When Seth and Roman, with Seth and Roman per se, we got it with Seth and Ambrose. We never got it with Rollins and Reigns. And to this day, we still haven't gotten it. And that last one-on-one match ends on DQ and no follow-up. Come on now.
Yeah, I do think that's a good honorable mention for sure. Like, Seth Rollins, from an in-ring standpoint, to me, he's like the modern-day Bret Hart. And what I mean by that is, like, he's giving others that he's in the ring with their best match, you know, the same way that Bret Hart used to do. And like, a lot of people that faced off against Bret Hart said that their best match was against Bret Hart, you know? I mean, look at the classics that guy put on against all these different people. Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Roddy Piper, British Bulldog. Like, keep going and going. Not all of them were kind of known for their in-ring ability, but they still, you know, delivered their best match with, you know, the ring general, who was Bret Hart at the time, who kind of helped lead that whole thing, right? And I feel like Seth Rollins, and I know it's ironic because I think, sorry, my dog's pulling me. I think it's ironic. I think because wasn't Bret Hart one that saying that he was injuring everybody and stuff like that? So, yeah. I mean, I understand the irony behind this reference, but at the same time, like, Seth Rollins has been really solid for years, you know? I mean, I think some of those things were kind of freak accidents, and at the end of the day, you know, the amount of volume of matches that these guys do, like, things are going to happen, you know what I mean? And as far as like, you know, Rollins is kind of like, in a sense, kind of like Jericho as well, where he can like reinvent himself. He continues to reinvent himself and make something cool and popular and trendy. Does it overstay? Yes. Whereas I felt like Jericho kind of got out when it was still hot. That's the only difference. But I do think that Rollins he's just such an asset. He's just such a valuable asset to WWE. Like, if they ever lose him, that is a gargantuan loss for WWE and a humongous gain for whoever gets him. You know what I mean? But I don't really see that ever happening. I'll say that on the record. I really don't think that'll ever happen, personally.
All right, before we get to the next topic, what was everybody's definitive answer? I'm still saying Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Roman.
Sami Zayn. And not because I'm from Montreal.
Oh, hot take.
Damn.
That one. All right, everybody has their own personal, I guess, hot takes in wrestling. You know, that could be, I guess, controversial to some sort, whatever you believe, it's your personal opinion. So everybody got to drop a hot take. You guys want to think about it. If you guys know what yours is, you guys can speak and say it, or you can say it and you can explain it, or you can just say it and move on. If you don't have to explain it, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Totally, to your nature, but however you want to break it down and put it together.
Are these modern hot takes or hot takes for any era?
Just in general.
Okay.
Sean, if you have yours, you can go ahead and speak. Sound like you already have yours.
My hot take is that WrestleMania does not need The Rock. That is my hot take. I believe that Rock at WrestleMania, if I had to put it into a word, like a single word, I would say Rock at WrestleMania is unnecessary. That's my hot take.
All right. Mountie, you have one? I haven't actually heard that one. That's a pretty good one.
I'll let Kyron go first, and then I'll do mine. I'm still
trying to think of mine too.
I gotta have one. It could be.
I didn't see this on the list. Am I crazy?
No, it's not. It's like I've had so many hot takes about wrestling history. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick one.
Pick the one you told me one time when I put it up on the poll and you sent it and I made a video about it. That was a good one. That's a hot take. That was a hot take.
Okay. Now fine. I'll say it. I've always felt Total Divas did more damage to the women's division than good. Now, and I felt like the Bella Twins were a big part of that. Now, to its credit, it did get a lot more eyes on the product than it never did. But when you have, especially in the era of which WWE were going in, of trying to bring in more women's, have more legitimacy when it came to women's wrestling, Total Divas was a complete slap in the face to that. So when we're more progressive in having women athletes, but yet we're having fake reality shows because reality TV is fake. Be the face of our brand. Does not help women's wrestling. Example, at Evolution, the first ever women's pay-per-view, the main event was Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey, and that was mainly based off Total Divas and Total Bellas because Nikki is the face of those two reality shows. Now, I'm not bashing Nikki Bella per se because I think she got way better in the ring, but I felt like when AJ Lee cut that promo, she wasn't wrong. Granted, Total Divas did do some good, but also was a detriment to women's wrestling at the same time.
What about yours, Mountie? You throw yours out there?
Yeah.
Those are two solid ones. I kind of like Sean.
Look,
Sean's kind of threw me off.
I think the whole CM Punk thing. Oh man, I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm not saying it's a work because it clearly wasn't. But if he does ever come back, I feel like they need to make it a work. And maybe that's not really such a hot take. I'm sure a lot of people have said that. I feel like it's pretty petty that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are like trolling him now that he's gone. I don't really understand why they're doing that because if you're kind of on one hand saying we don't need you and this and that, whatever, why are you even acknowledging him and giving him attention, especially in his hometown? So I don't know, man. That's what I got for that. That's all I got.
Okay, I actually see where you come from, Mountain. I really do feel like, now I know there's a question about CM Punk, so we could probably save that conversation for later. If they do end up bringing CM Punk back, they had no choice but to acknowledge that on TV. They wouldn't have a choice, especially because you don't know how AEW fans would react if Punk did come back. With everything, you wouldn't. If you're Tony, if you're whoever books the show, you have no choice. You have to acknowledge that. If Punk's ever coming back to AEW, you have no choice. You have to acknowledge that stuff.
That's true too.
I want to hear your hot take, Lee.
I'm gonna throw mine out here. I think I've said this before on a couple of videos on my TikTok, but I'll say it here. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I think The Rock is better than Stone Cold at everything. Promos, character work, heel work, babyface. I think he was better at Stone Cold in every category. I think Stone Cold had a bigger impact and he was more popular, and that's why I think he ranks higher than The Rock for me on the all-time list because of the importance that he had. But as far as character work, promos, everything, I thought The Rock was better at every category, in my opinion.
You know what? I actually agree with you. You know, when it comes to like that whole overrated, like not overrated, but the overused Mount Rushmore of wrestling conversation that we all kind of discuss at one point or another, and everybody likes to
Right.
talk about and argue. For me, like it's really the fourth spot that it's kind of open. You know, in my opinion, it's kind of like Taker, Hogan, Flair. Like for me, those are the three, and then the fourth spot is it's a toss up. Some people throw HBK in there. Some people throw Bret Hart. Some people throw Austin. Some people throw The Rock, right? And for me, I agree with everything you just said, Malik. I mean, well said. Like The Rock, I might not have agreed with you back then, but now when you look back at it, you're like, no, he just edged him. I'm not saying he was like better by a mile. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
true.
definitely it's
You know,
interchangeable.
it's a
guys.
close race. Yeah.
It's interchangeable. Like Stone Cold.
And just like the Mount Rushmore in general, like it's kind of interchangeable, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's really when you come down to it's discretion, right? It's whatever people believe that resonated with them and stuff. Like some of the newer people probably won't put Ric Flair in there, or some people won't put Hogan because of recent problems. And okay, but is that a personal vendetta against the guy, or are we talking facts here though? You know. I mean, this is, and then don't get me wrong, I don't condone any of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, Hogan helped put wrestling on the map. It's just you just gotta. He elevated it to heights that we've never seen before back then, literally.
Right.
So
see, with me, everyone knows me. I always more been a Rock guy than an Austin guy because the Rock just entertained me more. You guys know that. But it's like, and I was talking to my brother about this just a few days ago. Every time I watch highlights of Stone Cold Steve Austin, it gives me more hype than any other wrestler. Like I was watching a segment when he saved Stephanie from the Mystery of Darkness. It's like I like Rock more, but Austin had that cool factor that I don't think any other wrestler has. That's why even though I do prefer The Rock, Austin has to me more cool moments than The Rock.
The Rock. The main thing that hurt The Rock for me was that he was popular. He just wasn't Stone Cold popular. Like he was. Like, I felt like Stone Cold had a bigger impact, and he was just more beloved by the fans. Like there's a reason why when he turned heel, nobody hated him. He's Stone Cold. Like nobody wants to hate Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like when
True.
The Rock turned heel, The Rock was a heel for a period of time. People booed him. He got booed reactions. Stone Cold is literally the only top babyface ever turn heel, and people just didn't want to hate him. People, when Hulk Hogan turned heel, people hated Hogan. People hated Cena for all years. He wasn't even a heel. People hated The Rock when he turned heel. Nobody wanted to hate Stone Cold because
they hated the angle in which they used it and made it happen. But they didn't hate the.
Yeah,
I think all people did this, Malik.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't.
There's nothing to hate about Stone Cold. There's nothing to hate about it.
But Malik, I think you're forgetting this. Rock was already getting booed as a babyface because he was about to go back to Hollywood.
No, I'm talking about in '98 when he was getting like good reactions when he turned heel and joined with Mr. McMahon. Like he was getting booed.
I was on 2002, but like Hogan, same thing with Hogan. Hogan was already getting booed by WCW fans anyway, so that's another thing. Rock, like rewatch the SummerSlam 02 match against Lesnar. Crowd booed the Rock the whole match.
Yeah.
Then he cut that promo on the crowd after the show went off the air. And of course, we got, in my opinion, after that, we got the best version of Rock, in my opinion, Hollywood Rock. So I see what you're trying to. I see what you're trying to say. Like they never turned on Stone Cold as they did with any other top babyface. Like that's why I always say Austin is WWE's biggest star because he's literally the only one who as the face of the company, never got turned on. Cena got turned on. Hogan got turned on. Even The Rock to a degree, but also was the guy who the crowd never turned against.
Like Austin, he got little boos here and there, especially when he kind of teamed up with Triple H. But I feel like nobody really wanted to hate him. Like nobody really wanted to dislike Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like it was just hard. People would just be like, you know what? I hate that guy right now. Like when he finally turned back, this is one of the biggest matches you've ever seen. When he finally turned back babyface and he came out and he beat up the whole alliance in the ring, the fucking crowd was insane. Like the people were like, they wanted that so badly. So I just feel like nobody really wanted to dislike Steve Austin.
And then they turned him heel again.
I was going to say the same thing, Sean.
All right, let's get to the next category. They did turn him heel again too. I forgot about that.
Please stop. Ah, damn, I wanted to land on that one.
Worst booking decision. A wrestler that overexceeded your expectations. So it could be any wrestler. Any wrestler from past or present. I already know mine. I would say mine.
Mine is crazy, yeah.
Mine is The Miz. I never thought The Miz would have become as legendary or as Hall of Famer as he did. When he first came in, if you go back to see what he was wearing like cut off jean shorts and gloves, and he had like the spiked hair, and he just. I never saw anything in it, and even when he became WWE champion, he didn't feel like a WWE champion at that time. Like I just didn't believe that he was WWE champion, a material top guy. I didn't understand, I guess, what Vince or whoever saw in The Miz, but like you fast forward years now, The Miz is Hall of Famer, like one of the greatest heels of this generation. Like The Miz is definitely somebody who, from the beginning, looking at like on paper. I would never like this guy would have never been WWE champion. This guy would have never been multiple time Grand Slam champion, WrestleMania main eventer. Like this guy would have never gone anywhere. Like I thought he would have been buried. You know what I mean? But like The Miz definitely overexceeded any expectation that I had for him. He was somebody that I just didn't. Not to say I didn't care about him, but like looking at him back in like 2007 to like 2012, 13, like he was just there. Like I never really thought he was another top. Even when he was WWE champion, I'm like, why is he the WWE champion?
Oh,
like
true.
Like you have John Cena, you have Randy Orton, you have all these CM Punk. Like he's the champion. Like I didn't see it, but like
so many.
But like you looking back at it now, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a legend. Like I said, one of the best heels of this generation. He's just so good all around everything too, on the mic and like he's just so good. And I definitely would have never expected The Miz to become as legendary as he became. So I would have to say The Miz for my answer. John, you said you already got yours. I'll let you know yours out there.
Yeah, I gotta go with Triple H, honestly. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
That's not bad because he came in as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, so I understand.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley, 1994, 95, whatever it was.
Did you watch him in WCW too before then too?
Yeah.
Terry Rising. So yeah.
Terry Rising.
Yeah. You know, the British Blue Blood, who was entertaining. He kind of got over with the crowd, with the Blue Blood thing, the Connecticut Blue Blood thing, moderately. And DX always second fiddle. Even when Shawn Michaels left the scene, it was seen universally as DX taking a backward step because Shawn Michaels was gone. It went from A-plus player and Shawn Michaels being the leader to, let's call it state of state, 1998, Triple H was a B-plus player. So then all of a sudden, 1999 rolls around, he becomes champion, and then I think you could arguably see that Triple H was the most dominant heel in the business for about 3-4 years in a row. So to me, Triple H, when you see him walk in the door in 1995, or if you want to take it even further back and watch him, swim around in mediocrity with William Regal in WCW, and you fast forward 10 years, you got to, in my opinion, Triple H exceeded expectations.
I mean, he's running a company now. Look at that. Can I go next? I got it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna use my adult mind to take me back when I was a kid. JBL. Think about now. I'm looking at as my perspective as an adult, not as I was when I was a kid. So you take a guy who was mid-card to tag team his entire run in WWE, which went from 96 all the way to 04. So for 8 years, he never came close to being main event. Should not have been main event. Now, you could say it was forced, maybe, but the commitment Bradshaw put to that character made it work to the point where, yes, he was WWE champion for 9 months, was it?
Yeah.
But he made that work to the point where if you let's say, tell someone, and they got Bradshaw, who was a part of the APA, he's going to be WWE champion for 9 months, and somehow it didn't work. I mean, it does work. It you would say, oh, that can't work. He's not that. Well, I'm sure he was never the best in-ring worker. He was wearing the mic. He had a character that was easily able to despise. And the fact he had a group around him who helped him all the time, it made it work to the point where when Cena won the title from him, everyone was legitimately happy because, he lost. You got to give Bradshaw's credit. No one, the JBL character and a 9-month WWE title reign should not have worked, but it did. So I think JBL is the one who overexceeded my expectations.
Nice. Good answer.
Yeah, so for me, look, I really do think that Malik, you kind of took the words out of my mouth when it comes to the Miz. I couldn't stand him, and not even just like a heel standpoint, but more so like just kind of like X-Pac heat at that point. I was like, okay, get off my TV. Like this is, this isn't gonna go anywhere. You're from MTV or wherever the hell he came from at the time, and I was just like, ah, man, like it's not gonna work, So for me, that one really, really stood out, where I was like, okay, it's not working. When he tagged with Morrison, it was slightly better,
That was cool. Yeah.
like it was, yeah, and then it got better. But at the first, I'm like, okay, I don't even know if this guy can help him because I liked Morrison, I still do. But I was like, I don't know if this guy can really help him, And so, anyways, all I have to say, great pick, because that was one of mine. And my second one, believe it or not, who you could have told me this back in whenever the hell he made his WWE debut, 2007 or 8 or whatever it was. For me, it was Cody Rhodes. I'll be the first to say I did not like him. I was like, oh, like he's lame. He's this, like he has no knee pads. Like my brother and I would make fun of him because he didn't have knee pads. We're like, put on some fucking knee pads, man. You look, it makes you look like you have little chicken legs. Like what are you trying to do? He had no knee pads and one shoulder, one elbow pad, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know. For me, I was like, dude, you'll never amount to even what your brother was and is, and definitely not what your father was. Like, and I'm like, I don't even know if the blood's gonna like help him, how they push certain superstars that have it in their DNA kind of deal. I'm like, man, he might just be like another sort of Flair and it's over, kind of like Jerry Lawler's kid or whatever.
Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, that's true. But for me, it was like, and then I saw him progress, and then I saw when he turned and turned on Hardcore Holly. For me, I was like, okay, let's see what he could do now. All right, let's see. Maybe he's just a better heel, because like I always give a character 2 chances with me, face and heel. And if you can't do either one of those, I don't know. It's tough for me, but really what started to really sell me on him was Legacy. When he joined Legacy with Orton, I was like, okay, look, I gotta like this guy because Orton's my guy, and especially back then, like he was really my guy. And, that was some of his best work ever, but we're not talking about Orton. But when they had the breakup of Legacy in that triple threat match at WrestleMania, that was awesome. And for me, that's when I really got on the Cody Rhodes bandwagon. I was like, okay, that match was solid. He came out, his gear, yeah, and then he had the white boots and everything, and they changed the IC title, and I was all in. It's like, so Legacy for me was like the big, turning point, so to speak. And
see, I
was really impressed with
I was
what
kind
he
of the
did
same
with
way.
AEW
I thought
also.
I thought Ted DiBiase was going to be the breakout star over Cody.
Same.
I thought
Ted we all kind of thought that,
I was actually always more of a Cody guy. I always thought it was going to be Cody.
Really?
Even as a kid, granted they're both heels, so I didn't like them, but even as a kid, like I liked Cody more. Like
when he was with Ted, you thought Cody had a brighter future?
No, when Legacy happened.
Yeah, exactly. When he was
when they're all together, I thought Ted was the one.
Really? Oh man.
I mean, I look more than like Cody. All right, obviously they both benefit from who their fathers are, but even as a kid, I look more like Ted was trying too hard to be his father, especially once he started carrying $1 million title and he had Virgil and everything. Whereas Cody, even as very day, he's never fully tried to be Dusty Rhodes 2.0. And I think even as a kid, I looked more like Cody was trying to be different more, and that's probably why I looked at Cody differently.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good take. And for me, like I got to give a shout out to my friend my longtime friend Caitlin. So quick backstory: we used to watch these pay-per-views, especially around that era, like from like 2008 till like a good solid like 2011, 2012, like straight, man. Every pay-per-view, we'd even get together for Raw. We were really, really heavy into it. And she was all about Cody Rhodes, man. And look, I'll be honest, it's because she had like the biggest crush on him ever. She thought he was like the hottest guy like that she ever seen, this and that. And I was like, okay, yeah, he's cool, but you know, he's no Randy Orton though. You know what I mean? Like I was like, he's no Randy Orton and whatever. But I gotta say, like, you know, sometimes, man, like I'll take a back seat because sometimes these girls, even the ones that are the casual fans, they see something in a guy, the charisma or what or something that does work. And you know what? I got to give a shout out to her because she saw it like a mile away before me. So well done.
See the next category we got right here. Which one is it gonna be? Ooh, this one right here.
Will Kenny stay?
Will Kenny stay in AEW next year? For people who don't know, his contract expires next February. So,
Like
do
this coming
you
one.
got? Yes, about 2 months from now, so February. So the contract expires in February. Do you think? Now, to give you guys a little backstory, I don't know if you guys heard this story, but from what I saw, Kenny Omega wasn't talked with WWE before he went to AEW and everything, and the only thing that held him back from going there was the creative control aspect. You know, like he wasn't going to have the type of creative control that he would have had, obviously, in AEW because they're more flexible with the creative control and everything. But now that Vince is gone, Triple H is in there now. He's the creative booking. We all see how Triple H books things. We all see, you know, how he valued a lot, especially a lot of the independent wrestlers when NXT was around during the Black and Gold era. He brought a lot of guys in from the independent scene and made them big during the NXT Black and Gold era. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think Kenny goes to WWE, or you think he'll stay in AEW, or what do you think? Kyron, you want to go first, or let you go first?
Well, you can't say never because we didn't think Cody would go back to WWE, especially like he helped create AEW. And Sean swore for months it was fake and Cody wasn't coming back to WWE. But I don't think Kenny's gonna leave. Arguably, granted, so was Cody, was the foundation for AEW starting. It was his match with Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom that really got the ball rolling. And I just don't think, especially with how valuable Kenny is to AEW, especially for like bringing in Japanese fans and knowing the fact that how important he is to AEW and New Japan, I just can't see Kenny of all people leaving AEW. Not saying it can't happen because anything's possible, but
you do know that number one, Carl Anderson is still with New Japan, and he will be wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom next year, and he still has a championship in New Japan, and he just resigned with WWE too. So I mean, I think Triple H in the seat now. He's more open minded to a lot of things than obviously.
But I think that's true. But I think you're forgetting something. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know. And the rumors, Vince may be coming back soon. I don't think he will, but we never. But I sort of hope not.
I saw that.
And I think that's going to be a difference. I personally do not see. I don't see Kenny Omega leaving AEW. I think Tony's going to get that deal done. I think Kenny's staying.
Sean, you want to go? We'll go from Sean to Mountie to me. Let's go.
Cool.
Yeah. Real quick, Kenny's not going anywhere, and I think that Cody's going back. I think if they allow him to come back, Cody's a traitor. I don't respect Cody for making the decision that he made, respectfully. I don't think Kenny will make the same mistake. I think that you have to stick to your guns. In this era of free agency that has resurfaced after 20 years, it's a beautiful thing, but you have to make moves strategically. And for me, I feel like Cody jumped the gun. I feel like Cody made a mistake. I understand the issue as far as his father and the legacy, God rest his soul, and possibly WWE champion. And if he does become WWE champion, I'm sure he and many others will think that it's worth it, that the decision was worth it. But make no mistake about it, I think Cody made a huge mistake, and I think Kenny would be making a huge mistake too. I know that what the term sellout is very much overused, especially in this industry, but I do think it's relevant. And I think that we must take into consideration the importance of trying to allow yourself to not be seen as someone who can be bought. We all have bills to pay. On a much smaller scale, I've gone from pay grade A to pay grade B. That's life. I get that. For making changes in my job or leaving the company, I've done that. I get it. But when you're talking about the world of professional wrestling, the fans are so important, and your reputation as a worker and as a human is so important. So for Kenny to make to see the backlash that Cody has received from the independent circuit, AEW fans, the only people who are excited to see Cody are WWE fans. I'm not going to go on a huge diatribe, but I will say this. Um, I think you guys will think if you think about it hard enough, you'll understand what I'm about to say. I think Cody's the magnanimous nature of his debut overshadowed the fact that within a couple of months that heat, well, heat's usually a negative term, that glamour and that excitement died down.
Yeah.
It started to diminish.
That's right.
And it's going to cycle that the same way. When Cody comes back, he will be welcomed with open arms, and there will be a lot of excitement, and then it will diminish once again. Like I said with Conrad, no more cheap plugs. I'm going to keep it about this show. Like I've said with Conrad in my other show, everybody, or I take that back. I'll rephrase this. You have to really suck to not get a pop when you are a surprise on wrestling television. If you come back from an injury or if you make a surprise debut, you have to really be terrible to not get a crowd reaction. Braun Strowman got a crowd reaction. The Coach a couple years ago when he came back to WWE got a crowd reaction. Cody will continue to get crowd reactions. But I'm telling you, Cody made a mistake, and Kenny Omega, for everything he stood for in the wrestling industry and everything that he's believed in the wrestling industry, for them to throw money at him and for him to accept, it would be a huge mistake. So my answer is no.
Go ahead, Monty.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, Sean, but we discussed that exact topic, and I was the one that actually mentioned to you as well that, like, as awesome as that whole debut was on the grand stage of the mall, I felt like that buzz quickly faded. Even the next night on Monday Night Raw after Mania, I was like, oh boy, like, I don't know, man. Like, if you go back and watch it, guys, like, it definitely wasn't the same reaction you saw the night before. And I'm not saying that I was expecting the same reaction from the night before, but I was expecting something close, and to be honest, it really wasn't, So, look, I think all of us have ideas of when an employer, doesn't see you as an asset anymore or a value. I think we can all agree that it's time for you to part ways, and also it's kind of, for lack of a better term, embarrassing to sort of tuck your tail between the legs and come back through those doors. Now, the wrestling world is different.
Come on, brother, you're speaking the truth right now, man. I've been saying this, I've been screaming this from the mountaintops. You're hitting the nail right on the head. Continue.
Yeah, like, I just think, like, wrestling is a different beast, in my opinion. At the same time, it's like, when we have a job and these things happen, there's endless possibilities. Not even just from, it's just very easy to change careers. When you're like a pro wrestler, it's like, how many top dogs do you really have? And in this day and age, there's only a handful, right? That you could really, really look at and be honest with yourself and be like, okay, what are the biggest draws from television standpoint, from a superstar, overall sort of, like, marketing, like, success, right? And I think, arguably, you can maybe argue too right now, I think it's really head to head, and WWE and AEW. So it's tricky because, like, the options are more limited in this wrestling world that we all love than it could be when it comes to being a counselor or, something to that degree or whatever that line of work is. So, like, do the rules apply? I think that's just an opinion, and some people have an opinion that it does, and then some people have the opinion that it doesn't. Now, where I stand on this thing, it's like, I think that it's interesting. I was surprised that Cody left, and I don't think that Kenny Omega will do the same thing. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't even know if we really know the whole reasons why Cody decided to go back. But, in my opinion, I don't think Kenny Omega makes that move, right? And then you can also make the argument of like, well, now that this company sees value in me, maybe they didn't see it like immediately, like where I'm talking like tryouts, dark matches. We've seen that before, right? With a lot of great talent throughout the years. How many of them? AJ Styles, boom, never made it at first. And then, you know what? This guy's almost a household name at that point. If not, he was a household name, and let's bring him in, right? And he's flourished, right? So it's like, how do you take that as a human being too? Like, hey, you didn't want me then, you want me now. Like, are you too proud? Are you gonna put that pride aside and be like, well, I kind of always wanted to when I was young. So there's a lot of different variables that kind of come into this, right? Like, we'll never really know. Well, that's not true. We could find out eventually what Kenny Omega is really thinking when it comes to his own personal line of success and his goals and ambitions and stuff like that. Now, looking at it from the outside in, like, to who he is right now from in AEW and what he's built there, I don't think it's time for him to move yet. Do I think like Malik or Kyron said, never say never? Absolutely. I could see him. Look, at the end of the day, would I love to see him in this coming Rumble? I think it would create a lot of buzz if somehow, some way, he was able to make an appearance in the Rumble, still be under contract. That is good shit. Like, and then it brings into question, hey, are these two companies working together? Like, that would break the internet. Let's be honest. Yeah. So it's like, this is an opportunity for both companies to work together and try to make something that has never been done before. Or not really. It's kind of been done, but I mean, we just saw it with Mickie James. I mean, that was pretty cool. Although, it could have been cooler. Let's be honest. It was close. They almost had it, but it was still pretty damn cool. Right?
No, it was cool for what it was. I mean, he came out to hardcore concert with the title. Like,
exactly.
Like, he won a title. He won a women's title.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that was still pretty sick. Now, in the argument of Kenny Omega, man, like, that's a big name right now, right? So it's like, that's even crazier. Like, so look, I mean, I think he stays in AEW unless somehow in this crazy fucked up world, like the creative mind that I have, that somehow the companies can somehow work in conjunction with one another. That would be awesome. But I'm saying no, he stays put, because why would he? He's one of the top dogs there. He's got so much pull. He's one of the guys that, and you can make the argument for Cody Rhodes, like, he had more pull than Omega and whatever, but I think he just had a different agenda or something. I don't know. I was surprised too, but I don't see Omega making that move just yet. Maybe we could talk about this a year from now. I'll have a different opinion. Right now, I think he stays.
There has to come a point, Malik, just to add this quick point, and Mountie, that you look at professional wrestling the same way. I mean, I'm a guy that looks at professional wrestling the same way I look at combat sports. I'm a combat sports guy. I'm not just limited to wrestling. I know you guys appreciate that. When I was 3 years old, Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, 1990, when Buster Douglas upset of the century against Mike Tyson. What a terrible, and much respect to Japan, but what a terrible place to have had such a momentous, you'll see where I'm going with this, a momentous moment in history, which was in the Tokyo Dome, with zero crowd reaction and zero participation, right? Now, what am I talking about right now? WWE is that right now. WWE's crowd reaction is horrible. People pay their hard-earned money to sit down and not say a word in WWE audiences. Why? Think about that as an X factor of why you would want to go there. yes, you can throw all the money in the world at me, but like at the end of the day, and I know it's very easy to be said, I'm sitting there and they're sitting there, but my God, man, like, okay, you're gonna give me $4 million over the next 4 years, while AEW can give me $2 million over the next 4 years, but I'm gonna have more fun. I'm gonna be more recognized. I'm not gonna have to worry about WWE changing my character and ruining my career.
That's a good
Like,
point.
come on, man, please.
You know, I think
And
that's you're right in that sense because I think that like a lot of the WWE audience kind of lives in their own bubble sometimes,
facts.
and they don't really like explore what else is kind of out there and like the not necessarily the competition, like what a competition. It's just what else is out there in the wrestling world. Like, this is exciting stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I
free
was,
agents. It's like sports, right? Like, it's like, not minor leagues per se. I would never like say like Ring of Honor is minor league. No, they're all professional promotions in their own right. Some bigger, some smaller, right? But
like, it's funny.
yeah,
Sorry, Matthew.
no, please.
But I was literally just telling Kyrie this about 2 hours ago. Don't get AEW fans can be the same way too.
Uh-huh.
But WWE fans are some of the most tribal people in the world when it comes to defending WWE. For like, and some people still believe not only was Dean Ambrose better than John Moxley, but he had more success in WWE, which that's not even close to being true.
Ooh.
Or the same people who will complain about Vince's booking and say, oh, well, Sasha and Naomi were right for walking out, but now all of a sudden, because she might go to New Japan, now it's, oh, well, they were being ungrateful. Like, I get it, you love WWE more than anything. That's fair enough. But if you can't be this tribal to support a company, especially if they've done wrong, over a performer. And don't get it twisted. AEW fans can be the same way. I seen some AEW fans calling William Regal a traitor for going back to WWE, which I don't believe. But so I think that's a problem with wrestling fans in general. They're way too tribal. Now, so like, if you believe WWE is the be all end all of wrestling and that your career is nothing outside WWE, I can't stand people like that because this isn't that anymore. Like when WCW went out of business, you can make that case. Fair enough. But AEW is a profitable organization, very popular, and it has not the same amount of mainstream attention. It has mainstream attention. Also, Sean, you brought up how a money situation. You said how you can make $4 million in WWE or you make $2 million AEW and have more fun. I think Tony can give you $4 million. Tony because they're not the Jaguars. AEW has lots of money in the bank too, so they can give you the same amount of money in the contract. And my brother asked me, do people make a lot of money in AEW? I said, absolutely. Like Chris Jericho even said when he signed with AEW, that was the best contract he ever got. So I think that's a problem. Like I think one, if Kenny wanted $4 million, Tony would give him $4 million. I think you can make the same amount of money in AEW as you do in WWE.
No, for sure. I mean, Tony Khan owns a soccer team and a NFL team, so he got he got bread for sure. He definitely got bread. I think for me, it really all comes down to what Kenny Omega wants to do. I mean, it's his career; he can do whatever he wants with it. He's done everything in wrestling, success-wise, besides WWE, New Japan, independent scene, Ring of Honor, AEW. He's been champion. He's been the guy everywhere besides the WWE. So if he feels like that's the last agenda on his list to accomplish in his career, while he still can go, I mean, that's the move.
Exactly.
I personally think he will go there. I think Triple H finds a way to get him. I think with the agenda of, and I'm not saying he wouldn't have as much creative control in WWE as he would in AEW, but I think Triple H is more open to letting people have what they want as far as having more flexibility when it comes to certain things, whether it be scheduling or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I want to come over here, but I kind of got this thing I want to do over here in Japan too. Can I kind of do that? Carl Anderson's doing it right now. Like, sure, you're the champion, go over there and do your thing over there. He's more open-minded to letting certain people have what they want. As far as Cody, I don't look at Cody as a traitor. I don't look at anybody as a traitor. I mean, people can go where they want to go. It's wrestling. It's the same as basketball. You can do what you want to do. Football, it's your career. I think for me, I look at it as if we don't know the real reasons why Cody left, and I don't think we ever probably will know because I don't think he's that type of guy that'll probably speak out about it and just publicly say it. I think he has too much respect for Tony Khan and AEW where he came from to speak out like the real reasons. I think there obviously was something there that obviously he didn't like, so he left. And because he was in a position where he was an executive in the company, and he basically left all that just basically to come back to WWE to be another regular superstar. You know what I mean? So I think there was something there where, like I said, we don't know, and we probably never will know, because he's not like one of those people that will come out and say, you know, screw that guy and screw that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not that guy. You know what I mean?
No, he's always been good at keeping the bridges really good. My only
Right,
thought
right.
is like it has to do something with like unfinished business with WWE, or honoring his dad who never held the
Maybe,
title. So,
maybe,
like paying homage. I could respect that. You know what I mean?
and
That's what I think. That's what I
that could
think.
have something to do with it. Maybe it's just, you know, and Cody,
Well,
people
if he
forget that.
if he wins the title, we might hear something to that degree. Hey, this is why I came here.
I think,
Blah blah blah. This is my goal. You know,
I think that's a big reason too.
that's
Granted,
good stuff. That's good
you
stuff
can't
right
get too
there.
much. I agree. I think you can't get too much of the storyline because a lot of real life things into it too. But I think Cody did hint at, you know, he kind of put himself to a corner in AEW. Once he lost that match with Chris Jericho at a Full Gear, he could never challenge for the AEW World Title again. Now, personally, I feel like they should have used that to turn Cody heel to go back on that deal, but that's not what happened. And I'm not going to say that's the only reason because that's kind of petty, but I think he did want to be a world champion, and AEW do that stipulation, and because he wasn't going to turn heel, that could be a reason too.
Like I said, I don't think we'll ever really personally know the reasons why it happens. And people I think people forget too that Cody Rhodes was originally a WWE guy too. You know what I mean? Like he left the company for a period of time, but he came from the WWE because his dad and everything. He was built up in the WWE, so maybe in his mind he always wanted to go back. Maybe he wanted to show WWE that he was valuable this whole time and go out.
Well, did he really want to finish his WWE career as Stardust? I wouldn't personally. Like knowing what he is and what he became and stuff like that. Like I don't know. For me, I would be like, no, I can't end on that note, man. Like that's like. Yeah,
my question is, what does all that stuff mean though, bro? Like what did it mean when he took the sledgehammer to the throne 3 years ago? What does it mean now? Like I mean, like you guys are looking at it from a perspective of like, you know, like I'll use. I don't want to put Malik's opinion on everybody. Malik said, "We all have a right to do what we want to do with our career. No question about that. That's 100%. But if you make that kind of decision, what does that say about everything that happened before? We're not just talking about being pro wrestlers. We're not talking about being professionals. Period. We're talking about being men or grown people. You stuck your neck out. You were on a limb." And you decided that you wanted to, our crump, you decided that what you wanted to do was you wanted to stake a claim. And you wanted to let the world know that WWE got it wrong. Are we in agreement on that? AEW as a whole is basically a WWE got it wrong organization. Like you could change AEW to All Elite Wrestling, could be like WWE got it wrong wrestling. That's what it's all about. This whole thing is about that, right? And Cody Rhodes was one of the flag bearers for that sentiment, right? And now, after you took the sledgehammer to the throne, after you decided that I wanted to change my whole life and change the industry and make it better, and say, this is the way it should have been done all along. And I'm not Stardust. And I'm not pre-legacy Cody Rhodes. And I'm not the guy that you had swimming around in mediocrity. I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm the guy who main evented the first All Out. I'm the guy who won the NWA title. I'm the guy who won the Ring of Honor title. I'm the one who built AEW. I'm one of the pillars. And now you go back to where you started. What does that say about you as a man? That's the question.
Devil's advocate. You know, you have two types of people in this world.
Am I making sense?
100%.
No, I feel what you're saying.
Look,
I mean,
there's two types of people. People that are resentful. I'm never going back. Fuck them. They fucked up. Too bad. That's it. It's over.
That sounds like CM Punk. That sounds like CM Punk.
Yeah, and then you have the other people that it's like, hey, I'm good enough, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to go on your show, and I'm going to carry it over there too, just to stick it to you in a business way, and like for your own ego or
You
own like.
know that I love you, bro. You know I look at you. We couldn't be closer if we were blood. You're sticking it to someone by putting more money in their pocket.
I think you're forgetting this. Like
Yeah.
9 out of 10, if a wrestler, let's say a wrestler does, whenever a wrestler leaves WWE, especially, they always do shoot interviews. They always go on shoot interviews. Unless your bridge is going to be truly burned, or you have other plans, most wrestlers usually tend to say nice things about the company because likely you might go back. I think it comes down to this. Now, Sean, you brought up the destroying the throne with the hammer. And since that doesn't make Cody look the greatest.
Tyron, I'm gonna cut you off in the middle of your point, and I'm gonna let you finish. Don't scoff at that. That was one of the most symbolic moments of FU. I'm not a person who likes to curse a lot. FU in the history of the business. I'm gonna let you continue.
I agree. I'm not.
That's like title belt in a trash can. Like it's up there, you know.
He came back to WWE as well, but okay. Here's what I'm saying.
True.
It comes down to this. I know it's not cliche, but know your audience. You know the AEW audience is gonna pop for that. Just like when you just brought the title of the trash can. When Medusa dropped the title of the trash can, that was a shot to WWF, and that was like, yeah, we're in a war now. But now look, she came back to the company. Now, granted, it was over almost 20 years later, but she came back.
Oh, they were trying to put him out of business too.
Hold
on.
There
wasn't going to be that opportunity to go back. That was their goal.
Let's put a little context on this thing now, okay? You make a solid point about the fact that she's now a part of the WWE family again, but she never wrestled for them again. She came back to be in the Hall of Fame. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's one count evolution, but that's a one-time thing.
You could do the same with Bret Hart. Like they literally ruined his career. Like his exit from WWE was terrible.
You gonna tell me Bret?
You're not wrong, but you can't associate one with the other. Cody Rhodes is still in his prime. Cody Rhodes decided to leave. I'm not going to repeat myself and say the whole diatribe I just said again. You guys heard what I said. Alundra Blaze going back to WWE as a Hall of Famer is not the same as Cody Rhodes going back in his prime and leaving AEW behind. It's not the same. It's not.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Sean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I see where you come from. But every other legend I'm about to bring up, yes, they were not in their prime. They didn't come back to wrestle. But let's be honest. I'm gonna name a bunch of wrestlers: Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, Alundra Blaze, damn, what the hell is her name? Wendy Richter. Sonny. How many? I didn't want to bring Sonny in, but what I'm trying to say is this.
You gotta bring her up.
True, but it's not. That's not where I'm going in a way. Or Bruno Sammartino, even. Granted, yes, they came back to join the Hall of Fame or do more business, not wrestle. But if you look at what those people went through in WWE, Bret got screwed on his way out. Same thing with Wendy Richter. Ultimate Warrior had a DVD released just about how everyone disliked him. Bruno and Vince had beef that lasted almost 50 years because of what happened with his son and everything. And they all went back. And let's be honest, yes, they didn't go back to wrestle. Cody's still his prime. But if they had less of a reason to go back to WWE than Cody does, to the fact that how their exes went and how they were treated. So if they went back, Cody coming back, you think is worse? I get where you're trying to go. But
let me say something.
Well,
you're not going to think I'm going where I'm about to go. Bret Hart shouldn't have went back. Wendy Richter shouldn't have went back. Medusa shouldn't have went back. I look at them the exact same way. Cody to me is worse because Cody basically built a company to say F you WWE and then went back to wrestle for that same company. Let me ask you this. Malik, when I'm taking too much time, cut me off.
He puts the wheel on the board. That's how your time is up.
This supposed to be about Kenny Omega. We talking about Cody Rhodes now.
Listen. This is Malik's show. When Malik tells me it's done, it's done. Cody Rhodes sat up here and decided he was going to go and be a founding father of another company, right? Let me ask you guys this question. What does that say to everybody else who's there? What does that say to Adam Page? What does that say to Kenny Omega? What does that say to the Bucks? Believe me, the Bucks are no role models. But what does that say to the Bucks? What does that say to every? What does that say to Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus? What does that say to every single guy that said, "Yeah, Cody, you're right. AEW is going to set the wrestling world back on its axis the right way." And then they blink their eyes, and 3 years later, Cody Rhodes is right back to the place where he said was doing it the wrong way. What does that say to them?
Maybe Cody built that for people like them, though. Now we know that watching WWE for a long time, we know everybody's not going to succeed there. People who we thought have been good throughout the years, we know everybody doesn't succeed there. There've been plenty of people that we watched that thought should have been top guys, main event guys, and they get flushed down the drain. They get irrelevant. So maybe AEW obviously was created for people like that to have those opportunities, and maybe that's I'm sure that was Cody's, and still probably is his agenda from the beginning. Listen, I'm going to build a company or help build a company for people who don't get opportunities there, because I know I didn't get opportunities there when I thought I was better than what I was, but I was told that this is where you are, this is who you are. So I ventured out and did my own thing, maybe his own thing. Cody going back, I think people in the wrestling business just look at it as business. That doesn't mean that anybody else will follow Cody. That doesn't mean anybody else will be in the same trace as him. Maybe some people will. We don't know. But I feel like Cody's agenda from the beginning maybe always was to go back to WWE. Like Malty said, maybe his agenda was, you know what, I'm going to go out here and show everybody that I'm that good and that I can be one of your top guys. And then you're going to want me to come back because you're going to be calling me to come back. I'm not going to call you. You're going to call me and say, hey, Cody, we want you to come back. You want to be with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre gets fired. All right, you know what? I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do the damn thing. WWE calls me and says, hey, Drew, we want you to come back, man. You're ready to come back. Maybe Cody's agenda was the same thing. Maybe his agenda was to build a company, help other people, which he has. Other people, like there are a lot of people who are working for AEW right now. If AEW wasn't around, where would they be? Would they just be sitting in WWE doing nothing? Would they just be on the independent scene making decent amount of money? Like he helped build another company where say, you know what, you guys can go here. It's a TV company deal. If you're not going to go to WWE and you don't think you can go there, you can come here and you can show everybody what you're about. And this is for a different type of fan base. This is for the people who have fallen out with WWE, who don't want to watch WWE anymore. Like this is for people like them. So Cody, I get what you mean, the sledgehammer stuff. I get it. Look, I popped for it when I saw it. I was like, oh shit, like that was crazy. You feel me? Like, but I think that was just more of wrestlers, I think, know how to get fan reaction to do certain things. They know, like, okay, this is cool. Want to see? Okay, let me do this. Let me just.
Yeah, that was a good point that Kyron brought up too.
Let me get the internet buzzing about it, because obviously if Cody takes a sledgehammer and breaks it, Twitter's gonna go, oh my god, Cody Rhodes just took the Triple H shot on Twitter. And people are gonna, of course, that's what people are gonna do, right? And I'm not saying that was his intentions, but I'm just saying just in general as far as the purpose.
Oh yeah, they were mad at Braun Breaker for kicking the NXT logo. Remember? I mean, that was like on a much smaller scale. You know what I'm saying?
It's just.
But
I think
still was a big
I look
deal.
at it as I see your point. I see your point, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but I think you're one of those people. Like, if a company does you wrong, you're not gonna go back. You feel me? Like, if I worked for this company and I bust my ass.
Yes, your assessment of my personality is correct.
Yeah. So I can understand that. Like, if I work for this company and I bust my ass for this company, and I'm loyal to them, and I know that I'm better than what I should be, but they keep holding me down and put me there.
Because the only reason you're bringing me back is for your benefit now.
Yeah. So
total narcissistic.
I understand where you're coming from, but it has to be in a sense like Cody has to want to go back too. Like the money, yeah, sure, you can throw the money at me, but he has to also say, you know what, I want to come back. I want to come back and rewrite. And maybe like Mounty said, I don't want to end off as Stardust. I want to come back and rewrite that wrong. Like I don't want people to remember me like my last WWE match with face paint and the knockoff Goldust gimmick. You know what I mean?
Bro, if he came back as Stardust, I would have been like, yeah, you sold out. That's it. Like we'd have a completely different discussion right now.
I look at it as Cody's still in a good position. Number one, he came back. He kept his theme song that he had. He kept the nickname, the American Nightmare. He kept Cody Rhodes. He kept pretty much everything.
The theme, the whole deal.
He's probably gonna win the WWE Championship.
Yeah, I mean, there are talks about him winning the Royal Rumble next year and going on to WrestleMania.
Now, if we could look again, creative, crazy mind, blah blah blah. The big picture here, imagine this, like, he leaves WWE for all those reasons we mentioned, but also it's like, hey, I'm going to go start this promotion, do this, build this empire. And then Hunter's like, okay, I'm listening. I'm going to take over in a couple of years. Maybe you and I, And then how are we going to do that? Okay, well, you go over there and then you do this thing with the sledgehammer, throw me out, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to bring you back. And then when we bring you back, well, and that'll be the planting seed between WWE and AEW and and then we bring in Omega at the Rumble and
See,
oh,
I think
Like, there's so many things
I'm
about wrestling
reaching,
that
right?
there's so many things about
you
wrestling
heard
that,
it here first, folks.
that we really don't even understand. Like there's like, of course, there have been stuff that people talk about, but there's still things behind the scenes that we'll never know. We'll never know about a lot of things. Like we'll never know probably why Cody with AEW. We'll never know like Triple H could be talking right now to somebody about coming back.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't even know about.
Since I was a kid, look, in the world of entertainment and music and movies and blah, 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 there's so much shit that is just being redone now. And it's like, okay, they're redoing songs and they're using instrumentals that we've heard 100 times. And that's just like the evolution of music and movies. And okay, let's redo this movie because, we haven't seen it in like 12 years. So let's remake it and this and that. My point is like ideas, as cool as they all are when they first get exposed to us, eventually it's like, what else is there? How creative can we be? There's so much content and value out there in media that it's like, how are we going to fill the minutes on all these new creative ideas? But what I will say is one thing that I've wanted since I was a kid is the collaboration effort between, I had these images and fantasy matches of like Sting versus like Hulk Hogan in WWF. I'm like, oh, who would win? WCW Sting and representing WCW, bro. And then like Undertaker or something, I always wanted that, I always wanted like this Steiner brothers here against like whatever, Brainbusters or whatever, you get my point. We've never seen that almost like on a grand scale, like two top dogs, best of the best. We've never seen that. And in the wrestling world where everything's kind of saturated, it's getting like somewhat repetitive and like they're kind of running out of ideas and there's so much time to fill these ideas and it's getting challenging and people are bitching about it. We got to do something different. And why don't you just try it out? Like I'm so open to this grand idea. Like that whole like WWE, I mean, I know it's a different example, but like the whole what was it called? One Night Stand? Is that it? ECW? That was sick. And they put it in a different arena and it was very hostile. Like, can you imagine doing like something like that where, okay, one pay-per-view, it's in a WWE ring. And then the next one is in an AEW. Like, bro, this shit would, I don't have to tell you how much that would sell.
If you had a yearly event, strictly piggybacking off of everything you just said, articulated perfectly. If you had a yearly event where it was AEW, just using them because they're the hot ticket right now, against WWE in like an old school WCCW versus AWA kind of fashion, Jerry Lawler versus Kerry Von Erich, it would be bigger than WrestleMania.
Sean, I'm going to take it one step further. I'm saying that would break the fucking, what was it? The Battle of Korea, Tokyo Dome. What was it called again? It would break the record, bro. The record, man.
The WWE and AEW collaboration is what should happen between WCW and WWE back in the day. Like,
but here's the difference. Here's the difference. Ego. Vince.
But
you're right, Kyron.
Ego was the biggest problem. That's why the invasion was so bad because Vince never wanted, even though they didn't have the biggest WCW names, never wanted WCW to look like it was WWE's equal. Prime example. This year we had Forbidden Door. Granted, I missed the event due to work, and I didn't have them. I didn't buy anything. But Forbidden Door, it was a lot of fans' dream to see New Japan and AEW work that way. What if we, especially because Triple H, let's be honest, he knows what the modern fan wants more than Vince does. Triple H could be willing to maybe work with Tony Khan in that situation. What if we did get a Forbidden Door with WWE versus AEW? You see things like, say, Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega. I think like
that'd be huge right there.
That could, I think that would really work.
Yeah, but to Kyron's point, who's gonna go over?
See, and this is where Triple H and Tony got to come together.
It's definitely ego.
Does it even matter, fellas?
Yeah.
Just seeing that.
No, I'm piggybacking off.
Well, let's
this is like fantasy booking here.
It matters because of the egos. I'm using Kyron's word, which he argued.
I know.
The egos would be the Khan and Vince, or excuse me, oh God forbid, Khan and Triple H's egos would get in the way about who's going to go over. And then something trivial as that, Malik, Mountie, Kyron, something trivial as that would make the whole deal blow up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Look, it's a negotiation. Everything's a negotiation. Signing a new contract's a negotiation. Signing a new talent's a negotiation.
Mhm.
This is nothing new to them. Nothing.
And the
I'm
crazy
just
thing
saying, like, this is not something that they're gonna like throw together in one meeting, bro. This is like a progressive thing that they could work on for a long period of time, long drawn out storylines. You know, like, okay, this guy's gonna go over, but you got to build them for the next 6 months, so that way it's a really credible opponent. Like, I'm just saying, you could kind of work together, all get paid. So who's losing? Because you're all getting paid while you build and push these guys and this and that. Who's
and
really
the beauty
losing?
of it is not only, and like I brought the tribalism of fans. Just imagine that if we got that, imagine how loyal fans would be to their side. And you know the fans would want to see it. When Bryan Danielson signed with AEW, one of the first matches they did this on free TV, what shocked me, was his match with Kenny Omega. Just listen to the crowd when the bell rang. When you telling me, especially if you got to put this on a neutral site. For example, if you did an AEW or WWE show, you got to put that in Chicago, in my opinion. Because I feel like that's the most neutral spot. That's where All Out was. All In was. And WWE's always been big in Chicago as well. Either I think it should be in Chicago. You may go Philadelphia, maybe but you got or New York. But you got to put it in like a neutral site. You can't put it in some obscure place like Milwaukee, not trying to say Milwaukee or somewhere where the fans won't care. You got to put this in like an event where the hardcore fans know who these people are. Like one of my right down the same scale.
New York or something.
Yeah, like remember it was the episode of Raw, I think in 2019 February. That was in like I don't remember. I think it might have been Kentucky or something. I don't remember where it was. But that night, Vince, without telling Triple H, just brought Gargano, Ciampa, Ricochet, and Aleister Black on Raw just to pop a rating, and they got no reaction from the crowd, and that actually angered me. You can't put a show like that in a place where people don't know, especially in terms of AEW, because let's be honest, a lot of casual fans don't watch AEW. So you want to mix the hardcore with the casual perfectly. You got to pick New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, apply a spot like that. And like I said, with Vince not running WWE anymore, it's a higher possibility than happening now than ever before. Because the biggest reason the invasion failed, like Vince never wanted WCW to look like it's equal. Even when WCW was beating them, it could never have happened. One of my biggest things I wish they had done just for one night was when DX invaded Nitro, that Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon, Ted Turner, whatever, just said, listen, one of us is going to win this war, one of us is going to lose. I open the door and let's see what happens. People would tune in to Nitro and Raw to see that happen, just to see what would happen if DX went into the building. But, Vince was never keen on working with other companies. That's what shocked me so much. Not only did Mickie James come at the Rumble, is one, she came out to her TNA theme and she wore the TNA Women's Knockout Championship. And you say, well, Mickie James is a future WWE Hall of Famer when she eventually comes back. But yet she was presented as a TNA girl, not a WWE girl. That's the shocking thing. They could have easily played Mickey's theme from WWE. Fans wouldn't know who she was, but they played a TNA theme, and yet fans still knew who she was. Like, they had to wait for her to come out. They knew as soon as they heard Hardcore Country who it was. And it's things like that you want to see more of, and I think Triple H would be more keen to doing that than Vince McMahon ever would have.
All right, you guys want to do one more?
Next topic, yeah, one more. How many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're on like 4 or 5.
I love our podcast, boys.
4 or 5, I think. I don't even know.
Well, it's detail, right?
We always go for
Like I said at the beginning.
We just kind of touched on this, so we can kind of touch on this again if you guys want.
Of course, this one is next.
We already did this.
You guys just want to touch on it real quick, and I'll
We kind of sort of did, no?
We kind of we just talked about.
I'm just gonna touch on it real quick, and then we can move on to the different. I'm on a better topic. I'm gonna say he does come back. I don't know when though.
Where?
AEW. I think it goes back.
Maybe.
No huddle offense, guys. Quick. Will he come back? Yes. Where? I don't know.
Yeah, I think yes. I think he does come back, and I think it's WWE. Punk seems to be one of those guys that, like, if he goes through something, he needs like a breather, and then maybe he'll come back. And I don't even know if he'll do that with WWE, but that's my hunch.
I think he'll come back to AEW eventually.
Let's get a better topic. Hope we can end off on a good topic.
I wanted that worst Royal Rumble one so badly.
Yeah, I did too. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, we kind of touched on this one too. Well, at least Mountie kind of touched on it. Did The Rock come back to face Roman? Well, no, Sean was really the only one to touch on it. He already said his piece about it.
We pretty much already put our piece. Like, there's no we can just do quickly. I've always
okay,
had this.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna split it up. Do they need it to happen? Should he? No, but I'm not gonna say I wouldn't want to see it though, because it's the Rock, and I'm going to WrestleMania. So if I could see the Rock possibly have his last match against Roman, yes, I would fucking love to see that happen. But does it need to happen? Not really.
And if it's for the title, I don't want it. If it's for the title, then that's a no. If it's non-title, because I've been preaching to this for the last year. If Rock and Roman happens at WrestleMania, it should not be for the title because it makes it more predictable. The best thing that happened for John Cena versus The Rock Part 1 was that since it wasn't for a title, it was unpredictable. You legit didn't know who was going to win. Like, maybe Cena might win, maybe Rock might win. Whereas if you do Rock and Roman and it's for the undisputed title, everyone knows what Roman's going over. So that's my quick 2 cents on it. If you're going to do it, don't make it for a title.
I said it before, I'll say it again. It's just not necessary. That's the word of the day for me. Is it necessary? And the answer is no.
But if it still happened, though, would you be upset?
Oh, sure. I wouldn't be upset if watching The Rock is watching The Rock. It's great, but we don't need it. Is my point.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of want to see like how the bloodline sort of angle plays out. I'd like to see some sort of main event regarding that. But I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset this time around with The Rock coming back. The Hollywood angle. Obviously, Rock has a big presence in Hollywood, and not only that, like I think that Roman Reigns, once he loses the title, he's going to have a presence in Hollywood too. So I feel like all of it comes full circle. Personally, I for one want to see it. Yes.
See if we get something good.
It better not land on that Sasha Naomi one. We already touched on that.
You said that too, and it says it right here.
Come on, man. Can we please not do a one with someone coming back? We pretty much spoke.
We didn't talk about this one.
No huddle offense. No huddle offense.
Well, they come. Okay, Sasha Banks and Naomi. I think Naomi goes back to WWE. Sasha Banks, I'm not sure, honestly. I think she will come back to wrestling. I just don't know where.
Same. I think
Sasha Banks, AEW, Naomi, WWE.
Sasha Banks, AEW, New Japan, Naomi, WWE.
Neither of them come back to WWE right away. I think they both have to stick with what they did, and I feel like they need to go out there and see what their worth is. And I'm excited about it in a sense, I mean, why not? So both of them leave, come back. And it's tricky. The only thing that throws me off is the whole like Jey Uso thing, or is she with Jay or the other one? I forget.
Jimmy.
And
that's the tricky thing, right? But
that's why I say Naomi WWE.
But then again, when CM Punk left, AJ Lee was still kicking around doing her thing. So
that one was best AEW pay-per-view match of the year.
This should be another no huddle. I haven't watched many AEW pay-per-views this year. I'm not going to count Forbidden Door, so I'm going to say CM Punk and MJF's dog collar match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and a steel cage.
That was good.
Oh, that was good.
I was so mad Luchasaurus lost that.
Well done.
Yeah, Luchasaurus should have won in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm saying the same as Kyra and the dog collar. That was sick mic work.
I'm gonna
go
for
what I wanted.
I'm gonna go for Forbidden Door. I really liked Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy. I'm not gonna lie. That one was up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the dog collar match is pretty sick. That was great storytelling too. CM Punk came back in the shorts, and that was pretty good. That was great storytelling.
I want that Royal Rumble one.
You really want that Royal Rumble one, huh?
Ooh.
No.
Men's and women's Royal Rumble for the vote.
Yeah.
See, for me, the men's, I know who I'm picking. I'm picking Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is going to win the men's Rumble. But for the women's is the one I'm stuck on because there's not many legit women who I think could win the Rumble this year. Like the only, obviously you got Bianca is the champion, Ron is the champion. Like who do you realistically see winning the Rumble? Like
I know.
I've heard
know
they want
too.
to.
I have for the men's. I have Cody or The Rock, but I don't think it'll be The Rock. I think it'll be Cody. For the women's, I think honestly it'll be Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch wins. She goes to SmackDown to face Ronda, and then Rhea wins the Elimination Chamber.
See, I would do the opposite. I would have Rhea win the Rumble because, and I'm saying the same thing for Becky and Charlotte. I don't want anyone to win the Women's Royal Rumble twice this early. The Women's Royal Rumble literally just started doing it 4 years ago.
The only issue with that is though, if you have Rhea win the Rumble, you have to get Becky to SmackDown somehow.
Becky can just go to SmackDown at this point. Like people jumping from brand to brand anyway. Becky can just go to SmackDown. And let's be honest, the SmackDown Women's division needs a kick.
They do. But from a storyline perspective, I mean, she could just jump, but it has to make sense from a storyline perspective. I think for a lot of people, like Rhea wins the Rumble, that would be great for her because she hasn't won the Rumble yet, and she goes to challenge Bianca. That's cool. But I think the safe bet would have Becky win. She goes to SmackDown. Rhea wins the Chamber. Then everybody wins at the end of the day. That's how I look at it.
Or how about you do? Or here's an idea: Rhea still wins the Rumble. Because I want to see Rhea versus Bianca. We didn't get that at Money in the Bank because Rhea got hurt. And I really want to see that. But how about you do this? You take, 3 women from SmackDown, 3 women from Raw, and put them in the Elimination Chamber. And the winner gets to pick whoever Rhea doesn't pick. That way, like, you can do that. Let's say you get Bayley, Asuka, and Becky. Then you get Liv, Shotzi, and Raquel. And the Elimination Chamber, and the winner of that gets to pick Ronda because Rhea would have already picked Bianca. You have Becky win that one and then face Ronda. That way she doesn't have to win the Royal Rumble twice because she literally just won it. Like I stand by. A Royal Rumble winner should not win it twice, especially this early. She literally just won the Rumble 3 years ago. She doesn't need to win it again. And with her star power, she doesn't need it.
Well, my prediction is going to go completely against the idea of nobody winning it twice. I'm going to say Charlotte comes back to win it for the second time. And I'm going to say that she goes on to WrestleMania to lose to Bianca Belair, completing the idea of Bianca running through all 4 horsewomen.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What about the men? What about the men?
Oh, I think Cody's going to win the Rumble.
I think we all think Cody's going to win the men's Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he comes back, then pretty strong damn possibility. Or else, what are you doing? You know?
Right.
Number one. From a men's standpoint, look, I think you're right. I think Sami should win at Elimination Chamber, but is it going to happen? Because, like you said about the Drew thing, going to UK and, like WWE is not really super big on having people win in their hometowns. Like it's kind of hit or miss, I find,
It's the fact that WrestleMania is like Sami Zayn going to WrestleMania as the champion. You got like that's just I don't see it.
Roman can only lose that title at WrestleMania, in my opinion. He's been telling me too long. If you're going to lose, it has to be at WrestleMania.
Does the champion have to be in the match? Because Kofi won, there was no that was just a title shot, wasn't it? So
yeah, that was for the opportunity. That was the elimination chamber match for the championship. Right. That was for the championship.
Like Kofi won the title that night.
The chamber that Kofi lost was for the WWE Championship, and Daniel Bryan retained.
Because I guess I thought Kofi won the Elimination Chamber.
Kofi ran the gauntlet to
oh, that's right. That's right. My bad.
Matter of fact, he won the gauntlet to get into the chamber, right?
He had 2 gauntlets. He won the gauntlet to get in the chamber, and then Vince put him in another gauntlet to earn another opportunity to get to WrestleMania. Yeah, so
right. So, anyways, look, men's Rumble. I might even say Sami Zayn. Personally, I think he could win that. Okay. Yeah. I'm really on Sami Zayn tonight, apparently.
He's one of the hottest characters in the world right now.
Well, Kevin Owens is another pick of mine that could possibly, that could potentially happen. You mentioned Rollins before. I mean, that's another possibility. Like these are all options if Cody doesn't come back. And then obvious reason, The Rock, right? The Rock comes back. Anyways, so those are like, I know that's a lot of picks. I just pick like friggin' 10% of the Rumble, but yeah, or this guy, and I got 25 more, boys. You want to hear it? And then when it happens, I called it. You know.
Yeah, but that's how the Rumble should be. We still have multiple people who can win. That's what makes the Rumble so good. When it's super predictable, that makes it bad.
3 is nice, like 3 picks. You know.
I think it's like that this year.
Like a surprise pick, and then two.
There's a lot of varieties. I mean, I would even throw Bray Wyatt's name in the hat, honestly. There's a lot of varieties out there.
I would have, but the way they misused him, I've lost hope.
Yeah, for the women,
Bray Wyatt should not be the champion because it limits what you can do with him.
For the women, I think Malik's right. I think the safe choice is probably Becky Lynch, but I'd like to see Bayley win, and we haven't mentioned her yet. Like I feel like, you know, she still has that solid reaction. You know, I think that the fans still get behind her, and I don't know. I feel like there's still so much to give with Bayley when it comes to like the main event stature. So I'm gonna say Bayley is a really good choice personally.
One quick note about the women, I just want to say about Bianca Belair. I promise this will be 30 seconds or less. I gotta give, for all the problems I give WWE creative and all the disrespectful things they've done, Kofi Kingston, Bianca Belair, whatever, I believe that they made the Bianca situation right. I want to give them credit. They have righted the wrong that they did to Bianca Belair. I gotta say that.
Agreed.
All right, to end it off, we'll just go ahead with the Royal Rumble one that Kyron wanted to do. We'll talk on both. There were 2 categories: best Royal Rumble and worst Royal Rumble. So since the Royal Rumble's coming up, what do you guys think is the best Royal Rumble, and what is the worst one that you've seen? And it really depends on what your time frame, because everybody's from different eras. You know, so everybody's seen every Rumble. But Kyron, since you want to, I'll let you go first. Best and worst.
The worst I have 2 for 2 different reasons. 1995 and 2015. 1995, we always praise Shawn Michaels for going the distance, him and British Bulldog. The match was barely even 55 minutes. The 1995 Rumble was super short. That's number 1. And number 2, outside of Shawn Michaels, British Bulldog, and maybe Owen Hart, that may be the worst gimmick proof in any Royal Rumble match. Babyface, Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, Mantar. Like, no one in that Rumble outside of Shawn, British Bulldog, and Owen could have realistically won that Rumble. So I was like, we all praise it because Shawn won at number 1 in the ending. But 1995 Royal Rumble, that's a bad one. And obviously 2015. And not even because of the backlash it got with Roman winning. It was the way they booked that whole Rumble match. And Daniel Bryan comes in at number 10. Here's the thing, Vince. If you were always going to have Roman win the Rumble, what was the point of bringing Daniel Bryan back right before the Rumble when fans, like, if anything, either you bring him back after the Rumble or at the Fastlane. So, and when we went to StarCast, Malik, I sat at the panel where Bryan Danielson was getting interviewed by Renee Paquette, and someone asked him about that. Like, did you talk to Vince? He said, I tried to tell Vince, I don't think it's a good idea. It's not going to help Roman in any way. But Vince didn't listen. So, but let's not even bring up Daniel Bryan. Let's talk about the rest of the Rumble. It was dominated by Big Show and Kane, whereas everyone the fans cared about just got thrown out easily. Ziggler, Cesaro, Bray Wyatt was the MVP of that match and the Iron Man in that match, thrown out. And finally, Ambrose. And the only reason Reigns eliminated Kane and Big Show is because Kane and Big Show started fighting for no reason. Like, to me, the 2015 Royal Rumble was just terrible. So those are the 2, 95 and 2015. Now, some good ones.
The best, you got to know the best one.
2018, I think the 2018 Men's Rumble is the best Royal Rumble of the 2010s. Everything about that Rumble. It had a funny spot with Heath Slater. It had that square off between the old guard and the new guard, with Orton, Cena, and Mysterio. Then Reigns, Nakamura, and Balor. And it also had a great final 2 where people legitimately were scared that Reigns would win it, but everyone wanted Nakamura to win it. Great final 2. So I got 2018. For personal reasons, 2008, mainly because of Cena's return. And so 2008 has a perfect spot for me.
Which one is the best, though?
The best. You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
All right. If you want what I think is the best Royal Rumble, I know it's cliche, but I got to throw it in 1992, probably the best Rumble. Not my favorite, but you can't beat 92. The title was on the line. The amount of star power it had. I say the best is 1992. Not my personal favorite, or even in my top 3. But I say objectively 92 is the best Rumble match.
Sean, what about you?
Real quick. Worst ever, 1993. Ric Flair on his way out the door. Bob Backlund before he had his resurgence. Papa Shango, DiBiase, who never was legitimately going to be a champion at that time in his career. Nasty Boy Knobs, Virgil, Jerry Lawler, Max Moon, Tenru, Mr. Perfect beyond his prime, Skinner, Coco Beware, Samu of the Head Shrinkers, the Berserker, The Undertaker when he was not a championship contender because he was focused on Giant Gonzalez. Giant Gonzalez interfered in the match, wasn't even a participant. Tatanka, Jerry Saxon, Nasty Boys, Typhoon, Fatu, Earthquake, Carlos Colon, Tito Santana, Ricky Martel, Yokozuna, Owen Hart before his prime, Repo Man, and Macho Man after his prime. The worst field ever. Yokozuna was going to win. Everybody knew it. That's the worst Royal Rumble ever. 2002, Austin, Taker, H, Kane, Big Show. Best ever as far as a field is concerned. 92 was awesome. I'll give the slight nod to 2002. 93 the worst, 02 the best.
You think 93 worse than 95?
I'm sorry, what?
You think 93 is worse than 95? At least 93. I think 95 has a worse gimmick pool than 93.
That's debatable. I'm not saying 95 was good, but I think 93 was worse.
Mountie, what about you? Some threes out there?
Yeah, best one, favorite one, 92 for sure. Like Kyron said, just the star power that's in it. Just the feuds that came with it with Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan, that was epic, and I don't think anybody really saw that coming. That was, really well done, in my opinion. The timing of everything was great. Ric Flair celebration was solid. I mean, I just loved it. I loved everything about it. The one I hated. Like, there was very few Rumbles where I like look, we all suspend our disbelief watching wrestling, let's face it, and there's very, very minimal amount of times where I'll let it like ruin my evening. The 2015 really pissed me off. And it wasn't necessarily who won, like Kyron mentioned. It was how they did it. It was just, they how they just, and the fashion of which they eliminated some of our real favorites at the time, hot wrestlers, like you said, Cesaro, Ziggler, Daniel Bryan. Like, oh my God, man! Like, what are you doing? And it's just
It was bad.
Oh, dude, they were tossing them out like they were a little piece of meat. Like you're feeding your dog like a steak. Like, here you go, And I just hated it. I hated everything about it. Corporate Kane, the Big Show. Like, and no disrespect to them, they're doing their job, but like for me, it was just like, what is happening? Like. And to me, that represented everything that was wrong with that spot, with that company at that point in their career. Like, using these two up and comers here, Big Show and Kane, and to get to get rid of these guys that
let's give these two young guys a chance.
I'm like, and it was just like I felt like as a fan, they were just spitting on us over and over and over. Like, there's a way that you can get your point across and be like, hey, we're gonna pick this guy to be the man. I get it, but to like literally like take a shit on these wrestlers as you throw them out, to me, I just don't know how they got away with that one. For me, it bugged me.
95, 93 were definitely some bad ones.
Hold up. Before we get, Sean brought the 95 Rumble. Can I bring 93 roster? Can I bring the 95 one?
Go ahead.
Okay. You got Shawn Michaels, British Bulldog, Eli Blue, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, Jimmy Del Rey, Sion, Tom Pritchard, Doink the Clown, Babyface, might I add, Quang, Rick Martel, Owen Hart, fine enough, Timothy Well, Bushwhacker Luke, Jacob Blue, King Kong Bunny, way past his prime, Mo, Mabel, don't need to talk about that, Bushwhacker Bush, Lex Luger when he was about to be out of the company, Mantar, Otto Montoya, Henry O'Godwin, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, Bob Backlund, Stephen Dunn, Dick Murdoch, Adam Bomb, Fatu, and Crush.
You're right. No Friar Ferguson. We shouldn't have watched it.
I think 95. And by the way, 95 home was 38 minutes. I think 95 is worse than 93.
I mean, it's
is that when they had the 1 minute timer or 30-second timer?
Yeah.
What a bad idea.
Okay, I'm gonna say
there were two terrible Rumbles.
I'm gonna say 93 and 95 were both bad, but 2015 by far is the worst one.
Yeah, man, that one I'll never watch that again in my life. Never.
From a booking perspective, 95, 93 didn't ruin anybody's potential push or anybody's
True.
potential hype.
Fair enough.
Bro,
That hurt Roman Reigns more than anything because of how they booked that Rumble. Even
You know
when
how-
when The Rock came out, they
oh
still
yeah,
booed.
not enough.
And-
The
and
Rock.
And it's The Rock. People, from a booking perspective, it's the worst one ever. You literally want to build Roman Reigns up as the next guy, which is cool. We all expected that he was next in line, but you did it in the worst way possible. You put Daniel Bryan in the Royal
I
Rumble.
felt so bad for him that night. I really
You
did.
put Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble, who people wanted to see win the Rumble, which he should have probably won the year before in 2014 when he wasn't even in the Rumble. He just
That was a
came
bad
back.
one too.
He just came back. People wanted to see him win. He gets eliminated so early in the match, and then you just have so many factors of Big Show and Kane just dominating everybody in the Rumble when nobody cares about Big Show and Kane in 2015.
Those two young comers.
Up and comers, man.
It was the worst Rumble from a booking perspective because literally everything you could do wrong in that match, you did. Everything you could do wrong in that match, you did. From a booking perspective, as far as
Bro.
playing the field, the entries, the booking of eliminations, and then the fact that you had Roman Reigns come out, and he got a decent reaction when he came out. But by the time that Roman was in the end, and they knew he was going to win, nobody cared. People were mad. They wanted the money. The crowd literally. You remember that sign where
They took a
the
shit
ECW
on us, Malik. Say it as it is. They took
When
a
the-
shit
when
on
the
us
ECW
that night. A big
when the
fucking
ECW
gargantuan sign. This is good shit. Right on
remember
you.
when,
Right
when
on
the
all of you guys.
ECW when the one night stand crowd when they had the we
Yeah.
riot signs, that's literally like what the fans would have had that day. Like if this happens, we riot, and that's literally what could have
It
happened.
was in Philadelphia, wasn't
Hey,
it?
do you want to know the most messed up part about the Royal Rumble? And I didn't know until I saw this on the What Culture video. At the day Daniel Bryan got eliminated, right? Now you know who came out right the day Bryan got eliminated? Goldust. So what's the first thing that popped on the Titan chart after Daniel Bryan got eliminated? Shattered Dreams. Shattered Dreams.
The Rumble was so bad that they had to have a match between Roman and Daniel Bryan at Fastlane just so Roman could earn another shot to go to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar. It was terrible. It was from a terrible perspective. But it's so bad.
Yo, you know how like the WWE network like deletes certain wrestlers because like they do like bad things and whatnot? They should just delete that Rumble. It never happened. It just never happened. Just
At least
you go to search in the WWE network, you're like,
you young guys a chance.
bro, I'd like
to
to see the metrics and the data on how many people have seen that Rumble, how many people have actually pressed play and watched it. Seriously.
No, this is what you need to do. When you go to the Peacock and the network, when you go to the 2015 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, you stop at the Triple Threat match, which is one of the best matches of the year, and then you get your money's worth. But once you get to that Rumble match, the minute Daniel Bryan gets eliminated, you're done. And the funny thing is this.
Never watched.
Ironically, when we bought, like, the day when that aired, that was the day we actually bought the network originally. So it was that day. So this is the first week I'm watching on the WWE Network, and it's the Royal Rumble. So we got a few people downstairs, and everyone liked the Triple Threat title match. But then when the main event, the Royal Rumble match happened, I just remember when Daniel Bryan got eliminated. I thought it was a botch at first. I really did. Like, wait a minute, did Daniel Bryan get eliminated that fast? So I'm like, okay, I know Roman's still probably gonna win, but you still got Ambrose, still got Cesaro, still got Ziggler, still got Wyatt. This could be good. Nope. Ziggler comes in, knockout punch, tossed over. Cesaro, knockout punch, tossed over. Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, double choke slam, tossed over. They double choke slam Roman Reigns. Then for some reason, Kane and Big Show, those two great up and comers they were, started fighting to see who really was gonna be number one contender. Because I don't want to be the rookie to win who main event WrestleMania. They start fighting for no reason. Reigns flips them over the top rope, and then The Rock comes out, and I don't care what The Rock's face when he held up Roman's hand and the crowd booed is still one of the funniest things you will ever see.
But like, why was he even there? Like, McMahon must have known, like, this is a horrible idea, so we need The Rock. Like, it's not like they just, like, called him and he did a chopper, like, within half an hour, like, to come there.
No,
He knew that this was not going to be well received.
That afternoon, they knew the deal. They knew that they needed The Rock to be there, and they hoped that it would be enough. And under normal circumstances, I don't think there's ever a chance, ever a time, since the Rocky Sucks era, since the Hollywood Rock era, where The Rock came out.
Bro, Austin would have got booed that
And
night.
what I was saying earlier, guys, about surprises, The Rock coming out that night was a surprise.
Yeah.
It was if you went on social media
was.
because I think either WWE's Twitter or their Instagram spoiled it. They showed a picture of The Rock showing that he was in Philadelphia. So I knew in the back of my mind The Rock was probably going to show up. So that's only if you're on social media. And so I remember, all right, Roman eliminates Kane and Mitchell. They get back in the ring, and then The Rock's music hits. And it's excited to see The Rock. I kind of knew it was going to happen. But what made it funny was, okay, they helped get rid of Kane and Big Show. Rusev tries to come in from under the ring. He gets thrown over the top rope. Rock comes back in the ring, and he's trying to get Roman cheered, and even The Rock's getting booed. And I don't know, like, if you tell me you don't find that screenshot of Rock's face funny, you don't have.
He was looking at the ground. He was like, all right, I'm sorry, guys, but I got to do this, like. It wasn't a great reaction.
And one thing I got to say, you got to respect Roman Reigns, because the Roman Reigns of today is not that Roman Reigns anymore. No. This Roman Reigns, the way Roman Reigns is in the book, you can see him dominate the Royal Rumble. I don't think fans would have a problem with it.
I'm just glad they gave Kane and Big Show a chance to succeed.
Two rookies deserve a chance.
Not to mention it was
a long journey.
Not to mention it was corporate Kane too. Golly. Yeah. It's corporate Kane.
Exactly, like those terrible years with Kane with the mask and the pyro. Nobody liked that.
The more you guys talk, the more I'm starting to think, man, that was a freaking bad show, man. Jeez.
Well, dude, again, it's not who won; it's how they did it. Yeah. It was just so bad.
I never mentioned too. I'll say another one that was terrible was this year. The men's Rumble this year was awful. Like the way
it was terrible.
The way they put it that year, they had no star power. They literally thought that Shane McMahon could come in and like dominate for some reason.
No, Shane McMahon thought that. They didn't. Shane McMahon thought that. Even Vince wasn't happy with that.
And then Brock, when he was just kind of obvious after he lost to Bobby Lashley, nobody kind of wanted that either. You know what I mean? So it was kind of it was pretty bad, well booked. So,
but here's the thing, though. I thought neither Royal Rumble match this year was very, very good. I had problems with both matches. With the women's match, obviously, I'm putting aside bias of what happened with Sasha Banks because she was originally supposed to win until he brought Ronda back, whatever. But okay, I don't like the fact that I don't agree with a champion being in the Royal Rumble. So okay, you put Charlotte in the Royal Rumble only for her to be in the final two. So at that point, everyone knew who was gonna win it. Like you guys know, I'm not a big fan of Ronda anyway. But like, okay, you put Charlotte in the Rumble. Shouldn't it have been better off if she hadn't been in the final two? Because let's be honest, any predictability, once Ronda came out, you knew who was going to win the Rumble. So, but any predictability you might have, okay, maybe somebody else might have a shot. Went out the window as soon as the final two was Charlotte and Ronda. And it wasn't even a good final two because Charlotte went for like a knee and Ronda just threw over the top rope. And so I already had problems with the women's Rumble. Okay. And then the men's Rumble, everyone hated. And what's worse is this. My brother doesn't really watch WWE as much as he used to. He will always watch the Royal Rumble because that's his favorite pay-per-view. We even had our mother watch it, and she hasn't watched WWE in years. And even they're watching the Royal Rumble, like, they didn't even like it because I'm sitting there watching it like, there is literally no star power. Excuse me. Literally, the highlights of the men's Rumble was Bad Bunny and Johnny Knoxville. That's it. And when Brock, like, it's funny because after Lesnar lost the title, he pretty much knew he was going to win the Rumble. I was on the phone with Conrad right before the match, like the Royal Rumble match started. He says, yeah, man, I'm telling you, Brock's going to win the Rumble. And once Brock won it, I had to call him back. You called it. But it's crazy because the last, like, okay, Brock's going to win the Rumble. At least you do put star power in it. What's worse is the only two real, like, male main eventers, three, that you had were Roman, Bobby, and Seth, and they all fought for the titles earlier. So there was really no one realistically you could see winning the men's Rumble. So, so already there's a problem. One thing you can never do with a Royal Rumble, you have to have star power. I say this all the time. What makes a Royal Rumble great is when you have multiple guys who realistically can win. Yep. For example, I brought up 92. Now the 92 match was for the title. You had Hogan, Taker, Flair, Savage, Jake. And I know I'm missing a lot of them, but I'm just naming it. Like, all of them could have realistically won that match. But with the men's Rumble, there was no one in that match before Brock came out you realistically thought could have won. So once Brock came out, it was a foregone conclusion. I think what and worse. I'm going to say what about? And don't forget, the only other main event you probably could have saw was Drew, and Drew got hurt before the Rumble, so he missed it.
No, Drew was in the Rumble this year.
I could have sworn he missed it.
No, he was there. He got eliminated by Brock.
Oh yeah, that was another problem. A lot of fans said. They said with Drew and Sasha, what was the point of bringing them both back from injury if they weren't? In Sasha's case, she wasn't going to make an impact because she came out number one and was out before it barely lasted 10 minutes. And with Drew, like you bring him back from injury, what's the point of not capitalizing that type of momentum? It was the little things that about both the men's and the women's Rumble, which is why with this year the women will like with both Rumbles. I'm low key a little bit scared, especially with the women's. Like the women's Rumble, the only people really actually win is Becky, maybe Bayley, but yet Becky doesn't need it, and so who are you gonna have winning? Maybe Rhea, but that's a huge maybe. So with like, so that's what I'm talking about the Royal Rumble this year. Who do you think in both matches are you gonna have in who could realistically win? Another problem with the women's Royal Rumbles, and just been a problem really since the first one, is there are never enough women to fill out the whole card. You didn't realize that for every women's Royal Rumble so far, we had so many surprise returns in every one of them because there's not enough women to fill up the roster.
Especially that 40 woman one. Wasn't it 40 at one point or whatever?
That was a 2011 men's 2011 40. That's
right. So
for some reason, that's my brother's favorite Royal Rumble match, 2011. I don't know why, but that's his.
Yeah.
I thought like 2017. I wasn't really 100% sure who was going to win that one.
Yeah, I didn't know Randy. I didn't know Randy.
I was like maybe Orton. I felt like they had like 4 or 5 like.
I picked Chris Jericho.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know.
Some people were saying.
I didn't have a prediction that year.
Some people were saying maybe Undertaker. There was Reigns. There was the Miz who needed to push. There was Strowman. Like there was like there was Ambrose. I mean, there was a lot of guys like in there. Like there was a lot of guys that you could have made that. Who's the one more I'm thinking of? Bray Wyatt. Because like they had like that was like these. I don't know. You could have picked like 5 or 6 guys. You're right. That is what makes it like the best. I agree.
I think it's gonna be like that this year. The next Rumble, it's gonna be like that because you got a lot of people that came back and everything. So it should be interesting. But we're gonna go ahead and we'll sign off. Appreciate you guys for coming through.
I gotta go. My dogs drive me fucking crazy. I'm sorry, guys.
It
looks like I'm jacking off here. I'm like, oh, yeah, you guys have good topics. Like, jeez, God forgive me.
Peace out.
Appreciate you guys for coming through, watching the stream for the Spin the Wheel of Wrestling Topics. Like I said, we didn't get to every topic that was expected. We weren't going to cover every single topic.
Part 2 or part 3.
Make sure you guys go subscribe to the YouTube channel. And